This feudal lord is highly scientific. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 376 Expansion. Will the Great Wasteland City be unable to accommodate people? The answer is definitely yes. Nasang is extremely vast, and the territory of the Kingdom of Gila alone is larger than the Blue Star in the previous life. Who knows how many intelligent lives have been nurtured on such a vast land? The space of the Great Wasteland City is far from enough for so many people in Nasang. For example, a legend came back from the Star Realm just to come to Lin Ke to participate in the auction, but there was no place to stay. Isn't it infuriating? Infuriating. It's not the legend that is infuriating. After all, many legends can live outdoors, and for them, a few days is almost the same as a few seconds. Lin Ke is infuriated. After all, this is a good opportunity to attract talents and absorb funds. How can you not make a fortune from a walking treasure house like a legend? Therefore, there were originally many hotels in the Great Wasteland City, and Lin Ke signaled Bald Jack to open a few more and create a few more grades to form a chain. For example, express hotels, business hotels, noble hotels, legendary hotels, etc. Set different price points, and they can be opened in Nasang and even in various planes of the Star Realm in the future. These hotels are distinguished in various ways, mainly by service, geographical location, environment, food, etc. From the most common fast hotels to the most advanced legendary hotels, they are divided into different grades. Just think about it, with only 1000 gold coins, you can enjoy the hotel where the legend lives. As a noble, who is not short of money, are you willing to enjoy it? In addition to the accommodation problem, there is also the food problem. Many strong people can actually absorb energy from the surrounding environment to survive, but many strong people have a desire for food. For example, Emperor Wumian likes to use his godhood to cultivate various plant delicacies. Lin Ke originally didn't want to make any food, but since he had this opportunity, he certainly wanted to make a fortune. In a food festival that intersects with as an avenue, Lin Ke personally instructed several chefs and opened several large restaurants. By the way, he also asked Bald Jack to open more food stores. After accommodation and food, there are various entertainments. In this regard, Dahuang City is not weak. Various cultures of Dahuang City are contained in entertainment. There are also factories. Recently, they are working overtime to produce various weapons, crafts, practical items, etc. In short, Lin Ke wants to make a huge attraction to the intelligent life passing by at the first auction. I won't ask them to work hard to become residents here. After all, whether they will be accepted depends on the situation, but they can have a feeling of I must come again next time, when I have time, and they can continue to get the wool. In Nasang, where the civilization is relatively primitive, Lin Ke believes that the Great Wasteland City will burst out with an extremely huge attraction to all intelligent life. In addition, there are many other issues that need to be paid attention to, such as the security issues of the Great Wasteland City. Lin Ke is going to invite some professionals to patrol. It is far from enough to rely on the police he created, and the level is too low. Li Guanmobi went to the Great Wasteland Tower to take charge. 7 or 8 legends were distributed in 4 wonders. A group of professionals patrolled the city, and the Emperor Wumian behind Lin Ke. I believe that no one will be blind enough to provoke him. Of course, returning to the original problem, it is still the problem of capacity. The previous few houses alone are definitely not enough for the huge crowds. The most basic thing is to increase the capacity first. Therefore, Lin Ke is also carrying out expansion work at this time. Walking on the food street, Lin Ke and architect Velen together. Lin Ke was not going to expand beyond the lava swamp again. The ecological environment of the lava swamp was conducive to the birth of many rare plants and animals, and he did not want to do something that would exhaust the resources. Therefore, he chose to add small spaces. In the past few days, Li Guanmobi, Princess Misty, Ruin and other legends were dragged by Lin Ke to open up small spaces. There were not enough people, so even the Great Flow River was pulled over to open up. In the end, only more than 30 small spaces were created, and several tons of magic crystals were squeezed out. At the same time, almost 100 small spaces were also acquired, which was already the limit. Now Lin Ke is going to install these spaces in food courts, hotels and other places. In fact, people have come to the Great Wasteland City one after another. There are only 7 days left before the auction, and there are obviously many more unfamiliar faces in the Great Wasteland City. Fortunately, Lin Ke and Velen had already repaired the 4 wonders. Although there is no purple fluorescent crystal vein, it is okay to reinforce it first. Later, Lin Ke will buy the purple fluorescent crystal vein, and Velen will add it. Therefore, the purpose of Lin Ke and Velen coming here at this time is to install small spaces for the restaurants and hotels under the company established by Baljack. Nassim has been developing for so many years. Although it is not as good as in the previous life in science and technology, its development in magic is far more than that of the previous life. For example, the use of space. In the previous life, although there were concepts of time and space, such as 2-dimensional world and 3-dimensional world, there were no related applications. There were many descriptions of them in novels. Let's go here, Lin Ke said as he walked to the vicinity of the Great Wilderness Tower. Although it was afternoon, the Great Wilderness Square was still crowded with people, and all kinds of intelligent life were wandering here. There were also Lin Ke's professional police patrolling the square to prevent some thieves and pickpockets, and to prevent people from deliberately causing trouble. These police can deal with ordinary people, and even some low-level professionals can be completely taken down. And the stronger professionals dare not cause trouble, because at the top of the Great Wilderness Tower, the breath from Li Guan Mobi is being released unscrupulously to suppress everything. Li Guan Mobi is a level 25 existence, ancient and powerful. Of course, Lin Ke did not let Li Guan Mobi idle. He was working on it while releasing his breath. Is it here? At this time, after seeing Lin Ke stop, Vilun also stopped. Yes. First set up a space for the Great Wilderness Square, otherwise it will be too crowded here. Lin Ke looked around and did not expect that the Great Wilderness Square, which occupies a larger area than the Forbidden City, would be filled up so quickly. Sure enough, cultural, entertainment and commercial cities are also easy to become tourist cities. When Lin Ke and Vilun came here, not many people recognized them. Vilun and Lin Ke nodded. Vilun immediately squatted down and touched the ground with both hands. There was a small glass bead in each hand. This was a non-attribute space made by 2 ruins, similar to the space of a space ring. The power of a professional rose from his body, and his eyes shone with white light, and then instantly attracted the attention of a lot of people. Several police came over, saw Lin Ke and left again, knowing that it was their duke who was doing things. Some other professionals also understood what was happening and thought that it was probably the professionals affiliated with Dahuang City who were doing the work. Then they found that the young man who looked to be about 17 or 18 years old. Why did he look a little familiar? Chapter 377 Lin Ke's fan. Look familiar? For professionals, if they feel familiar, they must have seen it before and have an impression of it. So some professionals began to recall it, but they forgot it. Some professionals didn't care at all and continued to eat, drink and have fun. Some professionals recognized Lin Ke directly. That's several noble ladies, female scholars, female warriors and the like who were close to him, saw Lin Ke's eyes and moved towards this side immediately. After seeing each other's presence, they looked at each other warily and subconsciously accelerated their pace. However, how could Lin Ke let these people get close? He immediately blocked these people with an air pressure shield. These people frowned slightly and were stunned. Then they saw a woman with a bow and arrow on her back, who should be a professional hunter, raising her hand to shout at this side, and Lin Ke immediately pressed her mouth with an air pressure shield. The professional seemed to be around level 10, and her strength was not bad, but she still didn't make a sound under Lin Ke's sudden attack. The next moment, the professional increment on Lin Ke's body fluctuated slightly, and her body immediately disappeared from their sight. After the air pressure shield was gone, these people rushed over quickly, but only the middle-aged uncle, Velen, stood up and walked away with a helpless look on his face. He had completed the expansion work and now followed the invisible Lin Ke to expand the hotel and restaurant. That's the great writer who wrote Notre Dame de Paris. I really want him to sign it. Mr. Lin Ke's paintings are so beautiful. I really want him to help me draw a honest painting. I mean, Mr. Lin Ke is so handsome and has muscles. I wonder how the young lava duke performs in the control level of the mount. Oh, goddess of love is on the stage again. I really envy the little princess of Mushu. These people were regretful and sad and angry, but the female hunter glanced at them with disdain and walked out too. As time went by, the great wilderness square gradually changed. Few people in it could notice it, but some more perceptive or powerful professionals found that the square became much emptier. The invisible Lin Ke and Velen came to the next place together. This is a hot pot restaurant with Sichuan flavor. The entrance here was crowded with people, and all kinds of strange intelligent creatures were coming in and out of the entrance. There was a long queue outside, and the waiters inside were busy. The boss inside was a retired veteran from Aznan. He had lost his calves and was sitting at the cashier counting the bills. Mr. Lin Ke, are we going to renovate this store? Velen asked, looking at this hot pot restaurant. In fact, he had eaten here before and thought the taste was very good, very novel and unique. Yes, let's expand it first. Let the owner figure out the tables, chairs, and benches after the expansion. Lin Ke nodded slightly and replied to Velen. Small spaces also cost money. Lin Ke asked Boldjack to tell the store owners under his company that Dahuang City could provide small spaces and let them sign up themselves. Of course, the price of this small space also needs to be calculated. It is not free, but this does not affect the enthusiasm of those store owners at all. You have to know that Dahuang City was very popular a few years ago. It is a veritable metropolis with a mobile population. Many adventurers did not like to venture into the lava swamp before, but with the supply station of the Great Wasteland City, many adventurers began to set foot in this dangerous place of Nasang at noon. In addition, the business of the Great Wasteland City is extremely developed. Many merchants who cannot afford the time and space teleportation array can only travel between the Great Wasteland City and other cities through long-distance land transportation, which not only stimulates business and consumption, but also drives the mercenary missions of the Scarlet Great Wasteland. Therefore, basically, any store will be a booming business. These shop owners never worry about not being able to sell or making little money, but worrying about the place being too small and not making enough money. Almost all shop owners have signed up for the project of adding a small space to their shops. As for Lin Ke, he is now going to inspect these shops one by one. If he thinks the geographical location, business conditions, etc. are suitable, he will expand. If not, he will not expand. That's all. The first shop is a hot pot restaurant. Lin Ke walked in and showed his body in front of the shop owner, scaring the shop owner out of the account book. Lin. The manager just looked up and saw Lin Ke's face. He was startled, and his feather pen fell. Lin Ke shook his head and said with a smile, "Save time, don't make a fuss, we will expand it for you." Expansion. Hearing this, the shop owners immediately understood what Lin Ke meant. His shop passed the review. The shop owner immediately blushed with excitement and nodded vigorously. In order to prevent being accused of cutting in line, Lin Ke also hid his figure for Velen, and then Velen began to arrange at the door of the shop. After the arrangement was completed, this hot pot restaurant had obvious changes in the back kitchen, restaurant and kitchen, just waiting for the owner to make adjustments when he was free. Alas, if it weren't too busy, I really want to eat hot pot before leaving. Lin Ke smelled the seemingly true fragrance and felt that his saliva was secreted. However, the workload today is very heavy, and Lin Ke wants to take advantage of this wave to make Dahuang City rich. Let's go to the next store. Lin Ke waved his hand. We have to speed up. After we are done, I will treat you to a meal at the hot pot restaurant. Very good, very good. Velen laughed and then walked to the next store with Lin Ke. Not long after they left, the female hunter appeared in the hot pot restaurant. The female hunter had a slight professional power. Her eyes seemed to be looking around, and her nose kept moving like a dog's nose. How did the smell of the Duke of Lava get in here? Did he go in? So the female hunter was about to go in, but was stopped by the waiter and told that she needed to queue up if she wanted to go in. So the female hunter queued up obediently, but it was already an hour later when it was her turn to go in. After she went in, she found that Lin Ke was not there, but she was tempted by the stimulating and refreshing taste of the Sichuan hot pot. So she took out 18,000 coins from her savings, ordered a table of dishes, and ate heartily. I have to say, this stuff is really delicious. After eating, the female hunter left the hot pot restaurant, used her skills to dispel the smell of hot pot on her body, patted her flat and exposed belly, and felt extremely satisfied. Forget it, I won't look for it anymore. It's nothing serious anyway. Hey, wait. But the next moment, she smelled Lin Ke's scent again. Her eyes shifted to the next store. This is a milk tea shop. The female hunter touched her slightly hot belly and rolled her eyes. I heard that the specialty food of Dahuang City, milk tea, is very spicy. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 378 Night of Justice. The female hunter felt great, but also felt miserable. She followed Lin Ke's scent and walked through dozens of stores, most of which were food. How could these damn foods be so delicious and tempting? The food in Dahuang City can truly be called food. What kind of miserable life did she lead before? Compared with what she eats now, the food she ate before is just like the weeds eaten by domestic pigs compared to the ice fruit flowers cultivated by the goddess of ice and snow. She fell in love with this place. After using the power of Hunter to digest the food in her stomach again, abundant power immediately surged in her body. This trip, except for the slight pain in her wallet, everything else was pretty good. Found it. We must not waste money this time. The female hunter smelled the scent of Lin Ke and the others again, and this time the scent was extremely strong. Very close. Not far away. The female hunter immediately used her skills. Her eyes became the pupils of a cat again, and she quickly scanned the surroundings, and then saw a small stone at the door of a hotel with the words "Full House" hanging on it, as if it was kicked by some force. Found it. In that hotel, that looks luxurious from the outside. After discovering Lin Ke, the female hunter wanted to rush over immediately, but now it was a red light, so she could only wait for the intelligent beings riding various public transport monsters and rental monsters to run past her. Damn, is this what the newspapers say about waiting for a red light? It's only a dozen seconds. Why don't you have the patience to wait? The female hunter looked at the red light flashing above her head under the effect of magic, and the number started counting down from 18. She just felt that the wait was so long. 18 seconds passed quickly, and the female hunter rushed across the street like everyone else, and then she immediately wanted to enter the hotel. Lava Hotel, Feudal Road branch. This street was invested and built by Ms. Feudal, the mother of the Duke of Lava, so it was named Feudal. It is a relatively prosperous street. Lava Hotel is an aristocratic hotel, specially established for aristocrats. The service and food inside are top notch, second only to the Legend Hotel. These are all things that the female hunter has seen in the newspaper. So, she was stopped. "Miss, do you want to stay or eat? Please swipe your card." An elegant waiter in a black tuxedo politely saluted the female hunter. "I'm going to find someone." The female hunter waved her hand and was about to go in again, but was stopped by the waiter. The waiter looked helpless. "Sorry, miss, if you are a citizen of the Great Wilderness, please register your ID card. If not, please sign a contract." After that, the waiter apologized again. "Miss, this is the hotel rule. I have no choice." Feeling the helplessness and grievance of the waiter, the female hunter could only express understanding. After all, the waiter's attitude and understanding were already very low. "Okay, I'll sign the contract." The female hunter went to the front desk and signed a magic contract that she would not damage public property here, would not steal here, etc., and would pay gold coins if she violated the contract. Then she found the elevator and pressed the elevator button all the way to the top floor. At the same place, watching the female hunter getting on the elevator, the waiter shook his head helplessly. These young people come to get a room in broad daylight. The female hunter has a good figure, with a healthy wheat color, slender thighs and tight muscles, and a kind of powerful beauty. The waiter knows that some rich people often choose to come to the lava hotel to get a room. After all, there are things like water bedrooms and fun rooms here. Shut up. The supervisor at the front desk heard the waiter's sigh and glared at him. The Duke is upstairs. Don't lose your manners. Some professionals can hear what they say. As a waiter, you can't talk about your guests so wantonly. Even if they are girls and boys from Pink Street, they must remain respectful. Yes. The waiter was also shocked and stopped talking immediately. While they were talking, the female hunter finally saw Lin Ke. Bang. With a light sound, the female hunter's body was pressed against the wall, her back tightly against the wall, unable to move. In front of her, Lin Ke looked at him with a smile on his face, and an invisible shield pressed her firmly against the wall. Tell me, you followed me all the way. What do you want to say? Lin Ke let go of the pressure a little, allowing the female hunter to speak. In the square, the female hunter wanted to call him. If Lin Ke had revealed his identity at that time, there might be a riot there. He himself did not doubt his fame and influence, especially among the younger generation. However, the person in front of him was obviously not his fan, but had the flavor of a killer. He had destroyed the killer organization called Shadow in Face. During that time, in Nassau, the Shadow Killer organization wanted to reach out to Furlong and the others. Lin Ke also asked the Desperate Pool Killer organization in the Far West, which was established by a group of lizardmen, to keep an eye on the movements of the various forces in the Far West at any time, especially the Forest Hut and Shadow. At this time, the female hunter came in, and Lin Ke could only restrain her first. But the female hunter did not have any ill intentions. After Lin Ke asked her to speak, the female hunter immediately said, "I'm here to tell you something on behalf of a friend." Tell you something on behalf of a friend? Lin Ke was a little confused. Friend? Who? He didn't seem to have many friends. For people like the Marquis of the Great Sword, there was no need to tell you something like this. They could just use the cuckoo bad to tell you something. If it was really urgent, they could directly teleport to the abyss, and then from the abyss to the great wilderness. The Knight of Justice. The female hunter named someone that Lin Ke didn't know at all. The female hunter continued, "The Knight of Justice Artrix met you in the abyss a few years ago and wanted to be your follower. Is it that boy?" Lin Ke suddenly realized something. A few years ago in the abyss, a boy who called himself the Knight of Justice chose justice even for the core belief of the knight. But at that time, Lin Ke thought that the boy was too naive, so he didn't say much. Seeing that Lin Ke remembered, the female hunter continued, "Artrix asked me to tell you that he is now working hard to become your legion leader. In addition, can he ask you to sell him a slave?" "Slave?" Lin Ke asked. "Who? Why? If he needs it, shouldn't he buy it himself?" The competition between their families is very fierce. He has now won an opportunity and can't give up. Of course, if he says you think it's troublesome, forget it. The female hunter shook her head. What he wants is someone from the Eternal Frozen Council. The human race of the Eternal Frozen Council is also very powerful. Although there is no overlord, there are a lot of legends. This time in Fassa, Lin Ke did not kill these people from the Eternal Frozen Council, but kept them. That is the enemy who killed his mother. Chapter 379, Examining the Organization of Dahuang City. Well, tell me the name. I'll consider it. Lin Ke had a good impression of the Knight of Justice. In other words, Lin Ke admired this kind of passionate young man. For example, Beibing of Fassa was the same. He is from the Tofa family of the Everfrizz court, the patriarch of the Tofa family. The female hunter had been put down by Lin Ke at this time. After saying the name, she took out an item wrapped in yellow mud from her arms. This is the deposit he paid in advance. It can be seen that the things inside probably have magical fluctuations, and the yellow mud outside is not ordinary yellow mud. It is probably something that can shield magical fluctuations. Lin Ke nodded and accepted it. When can he come to buy the slave? Just treat it as a small investment. When he saw the boy, he thought he had a good character. Now it seems that the boy's family seems to be good too. I don't know either. Okay, I've got your message. Thank you, Duke. The female hunter pounded her chest and was about to leave, but after a moment's hesitation, she said, "By the way, Mr. Link, can I ask you something?" At this time, Velen also came over and had already arranged a small space. He glanced at the female hunter and then at Link. Although he had known Link's character for a long time, he was still quite helpless with Link. In his eyes, nobles and professionals should be distinguished from low-level professionals and ordinary people in terms of status, so that it is convenient to communicate. Otherwise, they cannot understand each other because their worldviews and values are different. But with Link, it is possible to talk to anyone. Velen would not even look at this low-level female hunter in front of him in the past, but now that she has become a follower, Velen no longer has the pride of looking down on others. Well, let's talk while we walk. Link and Velen are going to the next place, but it doesn't hurt to listen to what this female hunter has to say. After all, this female hunter could become the boy's friend, bring messages, and did not touch the deposit wrapped in yellow mud. She was a person of good character. Temptation and greed did not shake her friendship with the Knight of Justice. Whether it is using justice to defeat evil thoughts, or using friendship to defeat greed and temptation, it is quality. Lin Ke has always respected these inequalities, which is the great spirit of human beings. "Can I be your tour guide?" The female hunter scratched her head a little embarrassedly. "It's the position of your city hall. I saw it in the newspaper before, but the number of applicants has been full." Next to Lin Ke, she carefully watched Lin Ke's reaction with the corner of her eyes. In fact, even if the number of applicants was not full, the female hunter felt that she would not be able to successfully compete for the position. The city hall recruited 40 tour guides, who were mainly responsible for organizing tour groups and accompanying newcomers to the Great Wasteland City to eat, drink and have fun everywhere. However, there were more than 100,000 applicants for only 40 tour guides, and the number was finally set at 200,000. How could she, a female hunter, compete for the position? I'm afraid she will be eliminated in the near future. At the same time, she also knew that there were still many smart people, and they should all be people of similar status to her. Think about it, if you pass the exam and get a job at the City Hall of the Great Wilderness, you will get a salary every month, and you will work 5 days a week with your colleagues, and then have 2 days off. The work content is just playing and explaining. This kind of good thing is simply a good life of eating and waiting to die. Most people like female hunters can only take tasks in organizations such as the Mercenary Guild and the Scarlet Great Wilderness, or go to hunt monsters to sell. Licking blood on the tip of a knife every day, eating one meal, and not the next. They are very clear about the temptation of this kind of establishment job. So the female hunter knows that her competition will definitely be very fierce at that time. So, she wants to take a back door. In her opinion, isn't it the Duke in front of her who has the final say on whether to take the exam or not? "Sorry, I can't help you." Walking into the elevator, Lin Ke shook his head. "This is a position. Not only me, but all the people in the city hall cannot interfere. We must ensure fairness. There is no need to take a back door or something and smash the signboard of the Great Wilderness City. Is that so?" The female hunter thought about it, and it was the same. One of the reasons why the Great Wasteland City attracted her was that she could make money with her talent instead of her body. Many nobles offered her an olive branch. As long as she became their mistress, life would not have to be so hard, and she could be relaxed and comfortable. But many people, including her, were unwilling to take this path, such as Lalita at the beginning. Lalita, who was originally on Pink Street, has now become a brave female warrior under the command of the Duke of Lava, and now it has spread all over Nassen with newspapers. The female hunter wants to be like Lalita, who doesn't use her body to make money, but uses her strength. However, there is a profession that suits you. Lin Ke suddenly thought of something, looked at the female hunter with a strange look, and asked, "Can you eat without gaining weight? Do you have a fast digestion ability?" "Yes." Hearing that there was a profession suitable for her, she became a little nervous. "That's my skill, strengthening absorption. The Duke of Lava asked me if I would gain weight, and then looked at my body. Could it be?" The female hunter thought of this and became alert. Could it be that the Duke of Lava is the kind of person I met before? That's perfect. I have an idea. It's to be a host. Lin Ke touched his chin. I was planning to let those reporters try it, but I see you can eat a lot. You've been to dozens of restaurants on our 8 streets. When Lin Ke said she could eat, she couldn't help but blush and asked, what kind of work do I need to do? It's to eat. Lin Ke smiled and said, I'll have someone teach you how to use the photo stone to live broadcast and record. Then you can go to every restaurant in Dahuang City to try food and make comments. Later, you can create a food newspaper that records all kinds of food. Channels in publicity and promotion are also very important. By the way, Lin Ke also wants to experiment to see if the profession of host can be created. Eat, 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 eat. The female hunter widened her eyes, a little unbelievable. The elevator arrived. Lin Ke walked out and continued to say with a smile, the monthly salary is 2,000 and the bonus will be given to you depending on the situation. Oh, by the way, in terms of workload, it will be more tiring to make it a daily broadcast and a monthly magazine. Hey, why don't you get out of the elevator? 2,000 ASEAN coins are equivalent to about 6 or 7,000 yuan in the previous life. It's not bad. The key is that this female hunter looks good, and her expressiveness and appeal are also strong. I believe that it will give those nobles who are used to seeing noble ladies a sense of freshness. I want this job. The female hunter was afraid that Lin Ke would break his promise, so she immediately got out of the elevator and followed Lin Ke's footsteps. Outside, the waiter stared at the female hunter who came out with Lin Ke. The female hunter's face turned red because of excitement, and it looked flushed to him. So the Duke likes this style. The waiter thought secretly in his heart, and watched Lin Ke and the others go out. Chapter 380 The first guests of the legendary hotel. Lin Ke didn't know what the waiter behind him was thinking, otherwise he would definitely go back and hit him twice. It was simply destroying his family relationship. After coming out, Lin Ke continued to talk to the female hunter about how to show the charm of food. This female hunter worked part-time as a killer and had to go out to do tasks at any time. In addition, the hunter profession, which required staying in the wild at any time, made digestion extremely important. Therefore, she had a special skill position for digestion skills. Eat, digest quickly, and restore energy. Although it is not as fast as magic crystals, it saves money and can be used locally in the wild. This made Lin Ke think again that maybe she could do a live broadcast of outdoor survival in the future. Of course, if it weren't for the fear of ruining her image, Lin Ke could also do some live broadcasts of alien exploration. But thinking about the impact, Lin Ke gave up, and he was too busy. Let the female hunter do it. While talking to her, Lin Ke and Velen also successfully arranged all the small spaces. This was the first time he needed to check like this. After all, the small space is limited now, and the future expansion will depend on the store owners themselves. This time, Lin Ke also took a good look around the Great Wasteland City. After all, if he was out of touch with his own city, he would not know the status of the Great Wasteland City. He could not always copy the things of his previous life, but should adapt to local conditions. Finally, after solving the expansion issues, Lin Ke returned home and settled the female hunter. Lin Ke did not have to worry about the next thing. Velen alone was equivalent to a bunch of real estate companies. He could continue to build high-rise buildings for the Great Wasteland City. Lin Ke began to manage all aspects of the Great Wasteland City as a manager, coordinating. However, as the time of the slave auction approached, more and more people came to the Great Wasteland City. Garus and others also came from ASEAN Castle, thinking that they would help Lin Ke as much as possible, which slightly relieved the management pressure of the Great Wasteland City. Li Guanmabi, Princess Misty and Ruben also took turns releasing their breath at the top of the Great Wasteland Tower to shock Xiao Xiao. Then, the first god came. On this day, 2 women came. One wore a golden crown and gold and silver clothes, looking elegant and magnificent. The other was wearing very revealing clothes. The clothes on her body were probably only the size of a palm, but there was a sense of holiness in this revealing sexiness, which made people not want to blaspheme. However, these 2 women did not come in along as an avenue, nor did they take the bull train from the Great Wall Fortress to the Great Wasteland City. Instead, they seemed to appear out of thin air. It's really full of fresh and pleasant atmosphere. The sexy woman exclaimed softly, with an appreciative smile in her eyes. I should have come to see it earlier. That's Lin Ke who led the charge. It's normal. The woman who looked glittering and magnificent had a calm expression. The sexy woman glanced at her and said with a smile, fortunately, Sister Domilil, you have already left the barrier of the power of faith. Otherwise you would have fought with Duke Link. No need. The golden woman called Domilil replied lightly, then glanced at her. Are you going in or not, Aisha? Are you not going to wait for the nobles? Aisha said in surprise, and then she looked to the left with a slight change of expression. They are already here. Domilil also looked to the side. Beside them, 3 figures appeared, a young man, an old man and a child. Old man Harvest, beginning of hope. Oh. Mr. Noble, have you broken through to level 25? Aisha called out their names one by one. When it came to Mr. Noble, she was a little surprised. Is it the Fasa faith that Lin Ke gave you that helped you break through? God of love and pleasure, goddess of wealth, long time no see. Mr. Noble smiled and said, then shook his head slowly. I was helped to break through by Mr. Duke Lin Ke. Fasa's faith is not indispensable to me. The 2 women just now were the goddess of wealth Domiril and the god of love and pleasure Aisha. These gods all looked at Mr. Noble. You should know that Mr. Noble's words just now were full of respect for Lin Ke. You chose to change from a neutral god. The goddess of wealth showed some interest in her eyes, just because of a duke. Yes, the dignified Duke of Lava. Mr. Noble smiled and looked at the goddess of wealth, without any fear. I hope you won't regret it. The goddess of wealth withdrew her gaze, and at this moment, 2 figures were rushing over at a speed that was almost teleporting. One was the tall Li Guan Mobi, and the other was Lin Ke, who flew here with Li Guan Mobi. Seeing Li Guan Mobi, several gods straightened their expressions. Although Li Guan Mobi was not the most powerful legend, he was old enough, and was an ancestor of the human race in the mythological era. Everyone had to give him some face. At this time, Li Guan Mobi brought Lin Ke over, and appeared in front of several gods. He just nodded slightly, and did not speak. Instead, Lin Ke pounded his chest. Welcome to your majesties. Please follow me to the Legend Hotel. The name of the legendary hotel is the Legend Hotel, and in Lin Ke's judgment, this hotel is completely free for legends and gods to live in. People of other levels have to pay to stay here, but legends and gods don't have to. Of course, many additional services are charged. Mr. Lover. Mr. Lin Ke. Mr. Lover. Several gods also pounded their chests to Lin Ke. No matter what level Lin Ke is, at least Lin Ke is the Duke of Lava, a great noble of the Gira Kingdom, and even gods and legends should respect him. Let's go. Lin Ke made a gesture of invitation, and then was taken up by Li Guan Mobi. The gods didn't say anything, and followed Lin Ke to fly to the city. I have prepared a tour guide for you. You can visit the Great Wasteland City under the guidance of the tour guide. Of course, this is voluntary. Lin Ke also introduced the situation of the Great Wasteland City and the subsequent grand event to the gods during this process. When they arrived at the legendary hotel, Lin Ke asked people to give several gods the signs of the corresponding rooms, and then took them in, introducing them as they walked. 3 small spaces have been added here, which are nearly the size of 3 cities. In it, Lin Ke invested a lot of facilities, such as magic circles, that can change the environment and climate, as well as hot springs, ski resorts, skating, painting and other projects, and even arranged for people from the Azanen troupe to perform on the corresponding stage every night. Of course, you can choose various additional services here, such as all kinds of special foods in the Great Wasteland City can be ordered here, and if you want to watch a certain program, or listen to a certain song, you can also order it on demand. The gods didn't care about these things at first, and didn't want to live among mortals. But Lin Ke's legendary hotel was built very luxuriously, and it's very novel. Maybe not as majestic and broad as their kingdom of God, but it is definitely unique, and makes them want to try the feeling of settling in. Thank you Mr. Lin Ke for the arrangement. The last 2 days, please give me some extra monthly tickets. Chapter 381 The Goddess of Fortune Speculations. The first to speak was Mr. Noble. As Lin Ke's lackey, his performance was the most obvious. The other gods were somewhat disdainful of Mr. Noble, but they thanked him one by one. By the way, if you have any needs or anything to discuss, you can contact me through the waiter. Anything. Lin Ke looked at the gods meaningfully and then went out under the leadership of Li Guanmabi. Anything? The old man Feng Xiao touched his white beard, squinted his eyes and smiled. I have stayed at level 21 for too long. The ancient old man Feng Xiao, due to the influence of talent, combat power and faith, has been stuck at level 21 for thousands of years without making any progress. The words of the old man Feng Xiao also shocked the others. Duke Lin Ke is magnanimous. I once wanted to kill him, but he pointed out a clear way for me to break through. Mr. Noble's eyes leaned towards the goddess of wealth intentionally or unintentionally, so, as long as it is not a life and death feud, he will not care much. After these words came out, the expressions of several people moved slightly. Lava Duke Lin Ke is so easy to talk to. Perhaps you didn't notice? At this time, the god of love and pleasure, who had been silent for a while, raised his head, his eyes full of thoughts. Originally, the lava swamp was the territory of my sister, Lady Tide, and this is the border. The god of love and pleasure and the goddess of wealth were adopted as adopted daughters by Emperor Wumian a long time ago, which gave them the status of neutral gods. So it is normal for him to call Lady Tide his sister. And the expressions of the crowd changed more obviously at this time. This great wilderness city is called the Great Wilderness because it is located in the lava swamp. The lava swamp is one of the borders between the Holy Life Alliance, the Ocean of Stars and Waves, and the Kingdom of Gila. In the Kingdom of Gila, only the Grand Duke and the Prince and Princess can guard the border, and the Prince and Princess must be the stronger ones. Emperor Wumian established Lin Ke as the Lava Duke to guard the lava swamp, and his daughter will also marry Lin Ke. So it seems, Lin Ke will become the Grand Duke in the end. Exclamation mark. Each of the 8 dukes of the Gila Kingdom is an existence of unparalleled power. Not only are they powerful, but each duke can also fight against the master with the support of his own army. Will Lin Ke become such a being in the future? Exclamation mark. Or, will Lin Ke be trained by Emperor Wumian to become the next Duke, Lava Duke in the future? So, everyone should think about it. Anyway, I will definitely go to find Lin Ke. Maybe, I will have a chance to become the master in the future? The god of love and pleasure smiled and walked to his room with his room card. Mr. Noble and the goddess of wealth looked at each other and left one after another. Especially the goddess of wealth. He has never targeted Lin Ke because he knows too well how much Emperor Wumian, the moon goddess and the 5-colored dragon mother love Princess Lin Ke. Even if the great priest under his command was abducted by Lin Ke, he could do nothing about it, and he could not even punish Kanako too severely for fear of causing Lin Ke's dissatisfaction. After all, he is a weak person and his combat power is not outstanding. If Lin Ke holds a grudge and asks Princess Lin Ke to say something bad to Emperor Wumian, it will be troublesome. After all, although she and the god of love and pleasure are nominally the adopted daughters of Emperor Wumian, they are actually just one of the tools for Emperor Wumian to control the country. One controls wealth, and the other controls emotions. If it weren't for the fear that they are too good looking and easily attract the covetousness of other legends, perhaps Wumian land would not even give them the status of adopted daughters. Therefore, she has been avoiding meeting with Lin Ke. She is already level 26 and can initially break free from the constraints of the power of faith. Moreover, she has many faith planes and kingdoms of God under her command. Even without Nasang's faith, she is still the goddess of wealth. Therefore, even though Kanako has already taken advantage of him, she is still indifferent. However, it can be said that even Emperor Wumian attaches great importance to this event, and they have to come. Even the goddess of wealth has received news that some old monsters who have never appeared in the world may come out at that time. This level is definitely not as simple as the position of the Grand Duke that the god of love and pleasure said. Thinking about it carefully, Emperor Wumian seemed to have always hated the conspiracy and tricks that the eldest prince and his mother had learned, but he was full of praise for Lin Ke leading the charge. No, I can't think about it anymore. The goddess of wealth came to the door of her room and suddenly opened her eyes full of fear. Just now, her divine nature suddenly warned, as if she was suddenly awakened, because she thought of something disrespectful. Even thinking about that aspect carefully, there will be a sense of fear. It's terrifying to think about it. Her divine nature hummed softly in the soul space, and her whole body relaxed suddenly. Now, I need to repair my relationship with the Duke of Lava. Well, cooperation. We must cooperate. Maybe the first step starts with Janako. Thinking in her mind, the goddess of wealth opened the door of the room with her identity card. What she saw was white clouds covering the ground, the blue sky above, and some novel things placed in the room. Not bad. It must be said that in the eyes of the goddess of wealth, Lin Ke's room is very interesting and visually comfortable. Stepping into the room, there is a warm and comfortable feeling with white clouds, and it seems to contain a lot of stable magic power, which can be absorbed at any time. In particular, a feeling similar to soul communication gently touched his consciousness. It is very weak, not to mention causing harm to the gods. It is estimated that it will not affect the 10th level professional at all. He touched it out of curiosity. Hello, distinguished guest. I'm the steward of the magma dragon. You can tell me if you have any needs now. Do you want to change the environment and temperature? The voice of a little girl sounded in his mind, and at the same time, a light curtain lit up on the space wall not far away. In the light curtain, there are various blocks, and the blocks are written with the common language of Nassim. Settings: film and television, music, comics, books, newspapers. The goddess of wealth was immediately attracted. He sat on one of the clouds, first set his own race, and after positioning his race as Gila people, he changed the voice of the magma dragon steward to the hoarse voice of a middle-aged man. After that, he clicked on living environment and selected gold coins and treasures, dragon preference. Suddenly, the feeling in the whole space changed, and there were gold coins, gems and crystals everywhere, shining. The white cloud he sat on also turned into gold coins, and there was a hard texture. It's really good. Or I can come here often in the future. Anyway, it doesn't cost money. The goddess of wealth was like a little girl at this time, touching the gold coins next to her. Unfortunately, they were all illusions, but it also made her feel very good. However, the next moment, he saw an option that made him widen his eyes. Gila Palace, members exclusive, Andrew's leg. The goddess of wealth was shocked. I have been very tired every day these days, and I always feel that I will stop updating, but fortunately I have persisted. Friends, can you be kind and give me a monthly ticket to encourage me? Chapter 382, Gods of Nassim. The goddess of wealth did not expect that there would be a scene of the Gila Palace here. Trembling, the goddess of wealth clicked. A prompt popped up immediately. Respected Her Majesty Domiral, you have not yet activated your membership. Would you like to activate it? The voice of the magma dragon steward sounded in his mind. How much? Domiral raised her eyebrows and suddenly calmed down. As a goddess of wealth, she is definitely very rich. But the people under the command of the goddess of wealth know how stingy their goddess is. It takes 300,000 Azan coins to show respect for the 3 dominant towers of the abyss. The voice of the magma dragon steward seemed to be emotionless. Hiss, 300,000 Azan coins? The current exchange rate of Azan coins to copper coins is about 1 to 15. 1 Azan coin requires 15 copper coins to exchange. According to the exchange rate announcement of the Foreign Exchange Office of the Ministry of Finance of the Great Wilderness City Hall, the ratio of Azan coins to gold, silver and copper coins is updated every day, based on the algorithm that includes purchasing power, output value and so on. But in general, 300,000 Azan coins are equivalent to 30,000 gold coins in his eyes. How can this be tolerated? Exclamation mark. The goddess of wealth suppressed her inner impulse, and reason told her that she should not spend impulsively. However, when she saw the voice scene, her heart twitched again. Chatting, male voice, Woomian Gila, members only. Woo, woo woo woo, Woomian, exclamation mark. Damn, I bought it. The goddess of wealth made up her mind directly, and after asking the magma dragon butler, she threw a magic gem equivalent to the member price into a certain entrance, and then, I'm Woomian, what do you want? The chat character spoke majestically. For a moment, the goddess of wealth almost knelt down. Fortunately, she thought of the voice of some artificial intelligence or instrument spirit. Anyway, it was not Woomian himself. Well, you can call me dearest daughter. The goddess of wealth looked calm, but her eyelashes were trembling slightly, and the golden light on her body that symbolized wealth was flashing. Well, dearest daughter, what do you want to talk about? The voice of Wumian sounded again. So, the goddess of wealth was in high spirits. There were only 3 days left before the auction. And on this day, it could be described as the descent of the gods. Not only the kingdom of Gila, but also the gods from other regions of Nasang, and various legends. From the newly promoted legend of level 21, the blood-toothed great white shark from the ocean of stars and waves, to the old-fashioned god of level 27, the god of killing from the far west. They all gathered in the great wasteland city. The 4 legendary hotels in total were almost unable to accommodate them. Fortunately, these newly promoted legends were more restrained than the old-fashioned masters, and some simply lived in the lava swamp outside the great wasteland city. Of course, only a small number of them. The lava swamp was also restrained by Lin Ke to prevent those monsters from causing more trouble. Otherwise they would probably not be able to get back if something happened. Of course, at this time, Lin Ke had almost finished recording about the gods of Nasang, Great Wasteland Tower, Archives. How is it? Lin Ke asked the person in front of him. In his youth, a uniformed woman was holding this book and recording, with white light flashing in her eyes. Occupation secretary. This clerk was the one who helped Lin Ke find the news of the wild boars in the abyss. At that time, this secretary did a good job and helped Lin Ke quickly find out that the wild boars came from the Holy Life Alliance. So she was promoted to the Great Wilderness. And now, what she is doing is collecting and sorting information. Everyone who comes to the Great Wilderness City, including identity information, facial information, etc., is being collected. From legends to ordinary people, all are recorded in the book in her hand. Hearing Lin Ke's voice, the female clerk slowly stopped, closed the flying book in her hand again, and then looked up and said to Lin Ke, "Today's record is completed. In addition, Your Highness Lin Ke, almost all the gods of Nasang are here, and there are 5 gods who are not recorded. The gods of Nasang, since the records have been kept, have long been included in the book at Lin Ke's request. Regardless of whether they went out to explore, disappeared, or anything else, as long as the gods and legends recorded in books or legends, since the birth of Nasang, Lin Ke has already collected almost all of them. Of course, this scope is limited to the books in Lin Ke's large library. In fact, there are not that many books in the library of Dahuang City. Therefore, most of the gods recorded are gods of the human race. What the female secretary meant was that the gods of the human race, including those who went out to explore or fell asleep, disappeared, and were secretive, have all returned. In addition, the gods of other forces are not much different. Those who have been recorded in the human race have all arrived. The rest, including legends and other powerful people, are not recorded as complete. However, Lin Ke still insisted on recording it, at least in the future. If someone comes to him, whether friendly or hostile, he can know the information. Then I'll leave first. Remember to remind the people below that basic information can be recorded, but don't invade other people's privacy. Lin Ke warned, and then took the information recorded by the female secretary out. He came to the small space at the top of the Great Wilderness Tower, sat on the throne, and began to read books. In the entire space, only the throne was gurgling with the sound of magma. The earliest and oldest group of Nasang gods came from the ancient deep-sea mermaid kingdom. The king at that time, Tarzik, was extremely powerful. The entire underwater world of Nasang was his territory. He was the god of the ocean, the god of water, the god of mermaids, and the strongest in Nasang. At that time, the Nasang continent was full of scattered tribes and ethnic groups, all of which were defeated by Tarzik's strength. Only a few ethnic groups could resist a little. If Tarzik had not been uninterested in land, he might have unified land and sea long ago. But in the process, these tribes and ethnic groups united. Some gods who had been unable to break through for a long time broke through in the process. 5 powerful masters were born and joined forces to defeat Tarzik. These 5 powerful masters united and created the Holy Life Alliance with their 5 tribes as the core. Since then, gods have been born in a blowout manner. Lin Ke flipped through the Nasang Gods Information Encyclopedia in his hand, and felt a little excited. No matter how many gods there were in the past, how powerful the Holy Life Alliance was, now, it is the world of the human race, and they will become stronger and better under the leadership of Emperor Wumian. However, when flipping through the book, Lin Ke's fingers paused. Here are the records of the Sun God and the contemporary Lord of the Holy Life Alliance. Chapter 383, the eve of the grand event. Settling the family. These two were the ones who were behind the death of Aofu. Lin Ke looked at the names of the Sun God and the Rat Lord, and his eyes narrowed. The Rat Lord smiled at him on the surface, and smiled and nodded to him more than once, but he was actually a smiling but dagger. It was said that the chiefs of the Holy Life Alliance now disliked the Rat Lord very much, because he did not dare to resist the Sun God. At that time, the rulers of other Holy Life races died, went crazy, or were disabled. Although there was no evidence, everyone believed that it was the Sun God who did it. In the Holy Life Alliance, any lord must suppress the Sun God and trample the Sun God under his feet, in order to gain the respect of other holy lives, and higher lives except the Sun God lineage. Because in the ancient tradition of the Holy Life Alliance, only the strong can be respected. As for the Sun God, everyone has always believed that it was the Sun God who framed the rulers of the other 4 holy life races with conspiracy and trickery, so they especially respect those lords who can trample the Sun God under their feet. Unexpectedly, although the Rat Lord said it well at the beginning, he regretted it when he sat in that position and joined hands with the Sun God to rectify the alliance. This is a master. Lin Ke could see that what the Sun God wanted to do was very simple. Take back the power and implement a centralized system. The Holy Life Alliance should be very powerful, but it inevitably declined. One of the reasons was that there were too many internal voices. Therefore, the Rat Lord did not do the kind of thing that directly confronted the strongest, but conspired with the Sun God to rectify the affairs within the alliance. Gradually, many tribes have been integrated by him. I have time to talk to Wumian's father-in-law. Although Wumian may not care about this, he still can't suffer a loss. And sometimes Lin Ke also feels that the atmosphere in the Gila kingdom is too loose. If it is centralized, it may burst out with greater power. Zyro Lin Ke, are you there? Suddenly, a soft call came from outside. The Great Wilderness Tower now has a tower spirit, which is the dragon soul of the magma dragon before. Without the permission of the magma dragon, one cannot enter the top floor where he is. But the person who came was Feudal. Mother, I'm inside. What's wrong? Lin Ke closed the book, put it into the space ring, then stood up and walked over, and the throne under him with lava returned to its original state. Feudal came in from the door with Zyro Naomi. Feudal didn't change much, but Zyro Naomi was 13 years old at this time, slender and graceful, looking a bit like an tower, but looking more lovely. Brother. Zyro Naomi rushed up directly, hugged Lin Ke, clamped her legs around Lin Ke's waist, and hung on Lin Ke's neck, swaying. Little Naomi. Lin Ke loved her sister very much. She hugged her with a smile, and then patted her on the butt. You are so old. You are not ashamed. Get down quickly. You can't pat me. I'm grown up. Little Naomi exclaimed, covered her butt and jumped down. Pouting, no strange man can touch my butt, unless he is my future husband. That depends on whether you can beat me. Lin Ke smiled. Feudal next to her rolled her eyes at Lin Ke. Little Lin Ke, don't talk nonsense. Second mother, my brother bullied me and spanked me. Little Naomi hid behind Feudal, and then made a face, and stuck out her tongue at Lin Ke. Lulu. Okay. Feudal touched little Naomi's head, and then said to Lin Ke, you should be more careful in the future. Little Naomi is a girl now. Lin Ke smiled indifferently, and looked at Feudal. Mother, what are you doing here? What's the matter? Feudal suddenly became embarrassed, and it was Zyro Naomi who spoke up. Second mother thought that our whole family is busy, and it would be inappropriate for the two of us to be idle, so I came to you to see if there is anything I can do to help. Yes, Lin Ke. Feudal also spoke up, with a firm look in her eyes. Find me some work to do. I heard from John that Dahuang City is short of money recently, and I think I can help. As for Zyro Naomi, I just brought her here to go to school. I don't want to go to school. I don't want to go to school. I want to help. I want to go hunting in the Great Swamp. When Zyro Naomi heard about going to school, he immediately ran to the side and sat on a chair in front of a conference table. Help? Lin Ke didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Mother, no, really no. What you have to do is to go to the library every day to read books. If you are bored, you can also make an appointment with aunt to go to the wonderful land to watch a play or go shopping in the big shopping mall. If your own mother comes to help, wouldn't that be equivalent to causing trouble? But I will only spend money that way, and I also want to share the financial pressure of the family. Yes, financial pressure. Feudal frowned slightly. I don't want to be a parasite without productivity. So that's the case. Lin Ke didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Feudal must have read someone's article in the newspaper. Please, mom, you should just be a vase and stop making trouble. When the word came to her lips, they turned into, Mom, your role is to be happy and happy. When you are happy and happy, my father, my aunt and I can feel at ease and happy. But if you fall into exhaustion, then wouldn't we have worked in vain? Ah. Feudal obviously didn't expect Lin Ke to say that. What else? Mother, think about it. If you are happy, your son will be in a good mood and can bear more pressure. But if I find out that you are doing hard and tiring work for a few gold coins while I'm busy, then I will be sad and heartbroken, right? If I'm sad and heartbroken, my work efficiency will also decrease. Lin Ke tried to persuade Feudal and finally nodded. So Lin Ke breathed a sigh of relief. Great. Hearing that there was no need to work, Xiao Nuomi cheered. Then Lin Ke and Feudal turned their eyes at the same time, especially Lin Ke, whose eyes contained 5 parts of coldness, 3 parts of seriousness and 2 parts of teasing. I heard that some people, in the 3 years I was not here, were ranked last in the class for 3 consecutive years, and they also fought with others every day, asked others to go out to the Great Swamp to play adventures, and even had their parents come to their door in the end. Lin Ke smiled and looked at Xiao Nuomi. Xiao Nuomi's cheering expression suddenly froze and forced a smile on his face, trying to awaken the brother-sister relationship in Lin Ke's heart with a smile. Brother. Lin Ke was about to make arrangements for his sister, but he didn't expect someone to come to him. Lin Ke baby, are you there? When Ruwen's voice appeared, Lin Ke immediately got goosebumps. Xiao Nuomi, who was originally humble, was stunned. Feudal was almost the same. At the door, Ruwen stretched in, playing with 7 or 8 glass beads in his hands. Here you go. I'm so tired. You owe me more and more. At this moment, Ruwen, who was originally talking, suddenly stared at Feudal with narrowed eyes. Feudal was originally just shocked by Ruwen's address to Lin Ke, but now she frowned and looked at Ruwen. Haha, interesting. Chapter 384 Void Star Beast. Hey, don't let your imagination run wild. Lin Ke looked at Ruwen with a dark face. This brother-in-law is really unreliable. Is Princess Misty really willing to be this man's wife? Imagining wildly, Ruwen glanced at Lin Ke and then at Feudal and asked in surprise, why do you look so alike? Nonsense, this is my mother. Lin Ke was speechless. Hearing the word my mother, Ruwen frowned and looked at Feudal fiercely. This soulless void star beast puppet is your mother? Soulless, void star beast, puppet? Exclamation mark. Lin Ke's pupils shrank suddenly. What does this mean? Lin Ke's voice was cold and trembling slightly. Ruwen, if you don't give me an explanation, even a legend can't insult my Azan family. Ruwen smiled nonchalantly, looking at Feudal with a dangerous look in his eyes. Even if you are the master behind you, don't think of defeating me in the soul. As he spoke, Ruwen grinned. His tongue stuck out, the crystal on the tongue stud sparkled, and his eyes curved into crescents, as if laughing. His face suddenly approached Feudal, and the power of the soul manipulator in his body boiled. Lin Ke turned around and threw Xiao Nuomi into his arms. Before, when he was in the noble's deliberation, Feudal suddenly became powerful, and he was a little suspicious. But at that time, Li Guanmobi didn't see anything, and Feudal explained that he had already enlightened himself a long time ago, so Lin Ke was busy and didn't think much about it. Now it seems that Ruwen must have seen something. As a powerful legendary soul manipulator, Ruwen didn't need to do this to him. He could easily kill him. Besides, with Wumian behind him, it seemed that Ruwen would not have any ill will towards him. So, is there really something wrong with his mother? Exclamation mark. Thinking of this, Lin Ke hugged Xiao Nuomi tightly, and a scarlet annihilation staff appeared in his hand, always paying attention to the movements over there. Let me see, your soul. a huge humanoid phantom shrouded in a dark hood suddenly appeared behind Ruwen. The phantom's movements were like an enlarged version of Ruwen. Transparent silk threads emerged from 10 fingers, and strands of transparent silk threads pierced through. The silk threads were extremely fast, and 10 silk threads connected to the top of Fulung's head in an instant, and penetrated into it. How dare you? Fan, legend? How can there be a legend? An extremely majestic voice came from Fulung's body, but it turned into a scream in the blink of an eye. I got you. Ruwen laughed loudly, and with his weird face, Lin Ke always felt that Ruwen laughed so hard that the branches shook, and his smile was like a flower, a big lotus. Ruwen's body rushed forward and sank directly into Fulung's body. Fulung's body stood there like a puppet. Lin Ke stood there with a gloomy face. Someone took advantage of his absence and broke in, or was it the master of another plane? If he hadn't met Ruwen this time, he might never have found it. Fortunately, Ruwen is an expert in souls, and found it directly. Otherwise, brother, what happened to second mother? Xiao Nuomi tugged at the corner of Lin Ke's clothes, a little confused. I don't know. Lin Ke took a deep breath and slowly exhaled. I hope it's okay. As long as Fulung made a mistake, Lin Ke would investigate it to the end. They didn't wait too long. After a while, a shadow flew out of Fulung's eyes and turned into Ruwen. I caught it. Ruwen grinned and casually threw a glass bowl and smashed it to the ground. Suddenly, a huge dragonfly nearly 3 meters long appeared, and strands of transparent silk threads extended from the body of the dragonfly-shaped star beast to Ruwen's fingers. I'm destruction. The dragonfly beast opened its bloody mouth and was about to say something. However, Ruwen gently moved his fingers, and the dragonfly beast suddenly let out a sharp and rapid scream. Snap. Ruwen snapped his fingers again, and the dragonfly beast suddenly turned into a silent scream, with an extremely painful face. Great little lord of destruction, do you have anything to say? Ruwen chuckled, and the weirdness in his eyes made him look like a big villain. I say. After the dragonfly beast wailed, it lay on the ground weakly, and its wings stomped softly. Your mother is my descendant. The dragonfly beast looked at Ruwen with fear, and then looked at Lin Ke. Little guy, I watched you grow up. Lin Ke's face sank, and he raised his arm to the dragonfly beast. A little bit of heat suddenly turned from its body into light points, and gathered on Lin Ke. No. You are absorbing my soul. The dragonfly beast shouted in panic, and Ruwen's eyes changed when he looked at Lin Ke. Lin Ke was also slightly shocked. Could it be that his skill 0 degree can absorb the heat of the soul? The soul has heat. This is a topic that can be studied. Just now, he just wanted to give the star beast a warning. It happened that there was a breakthrough in the study of the laws of thermodynamics recently. He tried it out, but he didn't expect it to have a miraculous effect. Stop talking nonsense and speak quickly. Lin Ke put down his arm and said coldly. This time, the dragonfly star beast was honest. I come from a beautiful plane. It began to tell the story. The general meaning is that he is the master of that giant plane, but the plane was destroyed and broken by the more powerful main plane. He only escaped with his soul and happened to meet a young star beast, so he forcibly occupied the body of the star beast with a certain forbidden magic. In the process, it was discovered that this young star beast was an experimental product raised by an unknown existence. That existence cultivated some of its collected blood into these experimental products, wanting to cultivate something. With the power of this destructive master, it was originally no match for that existence. But the Lord of Destruction played a trick on that existence, took away all these experimental subjects, and took root in a plane fragment, becoming a force. Until he sensed the enlightenment of Fulung's bloodline. This enlightenment made him feel the potential of Fulung's bloodline, so he decided to cultivate Fulung well. Because Fulung's bloodline came from the bloodline in his body, the Star Beast, and belonged to the offspring of that bloodline. Although there is also the idea of using Fulung in the future, cultivating Fulung is also true. It's just, my mother's soul disappeared after you threw it into that purgatory furnace. Lin Ke's voice was full of anger. He raised his hand and continuously absorbed energy. Thick magma emerged from his body. This magma is different from the previous one. It is orange-yellow and has a trace of blue flames. It looks extremely hot. This is because Lin Ke's understanding of the rules of thermodynamics has broken through, and his skill of flame demon true body has also become stronger. No, Lin Ke, what he said should be true. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 385, Orph is back. Ruin stopped Lin Ke. Even though the soul of this master was huge, this kind of damage to the soul was also a huge injury. I extracted this paragraph from his soul. Ruin stepped forward, and with his long white fingers, he touched the center of the dragonfly's two large compound eyes. Suddenly, the dragonfly star beast twitched its body, and then the two compound eyes emitted a picture like a movie projector, which was printed on the wall. On it was a piece of clothing, and a line of Nasan common language in the land. You deceived me here today, and I will repay you one day. Although it was written crookedly in the land, it was obvious that it was Feudal's handwriting. Humph, since you saved my aunt, I will spare your life this time. Lin Ke's face was gloomy, not knowing whether to be relieved or sad. Feudal raised himself in this purgatory, like raising a goo, and I didn't know what level he was, but he actually broke through this barrier, and went to the void of the Star Realm. Don't worry, Lin Ke, your mother can break through and basically live in the void. The planes of the star world are infinite, but there are only so many around Nassau, and you can always meet her. Ruin took back the soul and body of the Lord of Destruction, comforted Lin Ke, patted Lin Ke's shoulders, and touched Lin Ke's face. Mother. Lin Ke was unaware of Ruin's touching, and his mood was slightly depressed. Brother. Xiao Nuomi saw that Lin Ke was sad, and pulled the corner of Lin Ke's clothes. When I grow up, we will go to find the second mother together. Okay. Lin Ke took a deep breath, patted Xiao Nuomi's shoulder, and then smiled at Ruin. Thank you, brother-in-law. Ruin was not together, but left, leaving only Lin Ke and Xiao Nuomi. The original Feudal puppet turned into ashes, and remained on the ground. Brother, I'm going to school, don't be sad. Xiao Nuomi was actually a little sad, but he cared about Lin Ke. It's okay. Lin Ke touched Xiao Nuomi's head and smiled. So, Xiao Nuomi, you have to grow up quickly. Don't be like your brother, who can't even protect your mother. Brother, you are the best. Since childhood, Xiao Nuomi grew up listening to Lin Ke's deeds. The person he admired most was Lin Ke, followed by Garros. Lin Ke finally handed Xiao Nuomi to Liquor to take care of, and he continued to prepare for various matters. And the day before the grand event, Emperor Wumian and his men also arrived. As the Pillar of Gila, Emperor Wumian's arrival was also greeted by Lin Ke in person. Emperor Wumian and his men first went to the Great Wall Fortress, watched the scenery of the fortress, and then came in from there with ordinary people on a train, pulled by bloodthirsty iron bulls. When they were in the fortress, King Cha had already sent the message to Lin Ke. So when the train arrived, Lin Ke and his men were ready. Bang, bang, bang. Granny Zisei stood at the front of the two rows of people, opened her hands, and released bunches of fireworks into the sky. The two rows of people applauded and shouted happily, welcome, welcome, warm welcome, welcome, warm welcome. The fireworks in the sky also formed a line of words, warmly welcome Emperor Wumian to come to Dahuang City to guide the work. Some tourists on the train just got off, and were startled by the scene. They understood after seeing the words in the sky clearly. Emperor Wumian is here too? Where is he? On the same train with me? Andrew's leg. These people were bustling, and then the police went up to maintain order, so that they would not be blocked at the door. And just when everyone was frantically looking for him, the simple and unpretentious Emperor Wumian appeared. He and the five-colored dragon mother walked out of the crowd like two ordinary farmers and an aunt at the entrance of the village. At this time, Emperor Wumian was like a burly man with a simple smile on his face. The five-colored dragon mother was also there, looking like a rather kind aunt. Behind them, there was something unusual. The princes and princesses had already come before, and this time, only two people followed them. One was the moon goddess, who looked extremely beautiful. Those who didn't know her would think she was the daughter of Wumian and the five-colored dragon mother. The other was the gardener's wife, who was leaning on a cane, as if she was the mother of Wumian and the 5-colored dragon mother. The four came over, and Lin Ke personally went forward to greet them, as well as Lin Ke and the dark girl. Father-in-law and mother-in-law, you are here. Lin Ke smiled and stepped forward, pounding his chest. Lin Ke went up and hugged Wumian's arm, and then was glared at by the 5-colored dragon mother, and then she changed to holding Wumian's hand. Is this the Emperor Wumian? Exclamation mark. All of a sudden, the surroundings were boiling. How could they not know that these people were actually the Emperor Wumian? Even Lin Ke was a little surprised. He originally thought that the Emperor Wumian would be like the emperors in his previous life, who liked to go out in a majestic manner. But now he changed his mind. With the peerless military power of Emperor Wumian, it is useless to show off. What is unexpected is that Emperor Wumian smiled and even hammered his chest at Lin Ke, Duke of Lava. Emperor Wumian's identity at this time is not the father-in-law or mother-in-law, but the king of the kingdom of Gila. It seems that Wumian is not going to support me this time. Why? Lin Ke's eyes were confused, and he made a gesture of invitation to Wumian. Please follow me. Behind him, there was a special car to the Legend Hotel. The Emperor Wumian's stay here can better show the reputation of the Legend Hotel. At this time, although there was a lot of hustle and bustle, Emperor Wumian and his men did not speak, but just smiled silently and followed Lin Ke into the car. Others did not know, but Lin Ke noticed this subtle change and guessed that something might have happened. They rushed all the way to the Legend Hotel, and the Goddess of Fortune and others also came to meet them, and then checked in. During the whole process, they did not say a word to Lin Ke, even Lin Ke. The two were very surprised and very strange. After Wumian and the 5-colored dragon mother settled down, even Lin Ke was not allowed to stay, and was driven out. Back at the Great Wilderness Tower, the two were confused. Why is this? Lin Ke pondered, and the Mist Princess and the others beside him were also a little curious. I'm curious too. However, at this moment, two figures suddenly appeared on the top floor of the Great Wilderness Tower. It was Emperor Wumian and the Moon Goddess. Haha, good son-in-law. Wumian laughed and came forward, gave Lin Ke a hug, and then touched Lin Ke's head. Little Lin Ke, you have become much more beautiful recently. After saying that, Wumian pointed at the Moon Goddess and the surprised eyes of the people in the conference room. This time I brought the moon to reverse the life and death of AOF. And by the way, I also brought the time and space secret key of the Father Plane. Resurrect AOF. Lin Ke's eyes widened. Chapter 386 Reversing Life and Death. News from other main planes. Resurrecting AOF. This is Lin Ke's obsession and regret. Teacher AOF has been diligent and conscientious since he met him and has been protecting him. Moreover, the socially anxious teacher AOF regards Lin Ke as his only relative and tries his best to protect him. Lin Ke also regards AOF as a relative. Now is the time for him to resurrect his relatives. It came a little suddenly. Lin Ke originally wanted to ask something, but he didn't ask for a moment, but asked, now. Lin Ke originally wanted to ask Wumian and the others, but at this time she knew Lin Ke's mood, so she stepped forward and held Lin Ke's hand, interlocking their fingers. Lin Ke's nervous mood eased a little. Of course, it's not a big deal. Wumian laughed loudly and took out an irregular breathless ordinary stone-like object from his space ring and threw it to Lin Ke. Next, the secret key of Phaser. He threw it over and did not forget to say, by the way, I made this secret key from a stone on the roadside. Be careful not to break it. Lin Ke, who originally thought it was some mysterious ore, immediately caught the stone in a panic. It was Wumian. Who else would dare to engrave the space-time key like this? Once you get the coordinates of a plane, you must protect it quickly. With Lin Ke's financial resources, he protected the small space he got from Black Mountain at the beginning, and he didn't dare to neglect it. Not to mention a large plane like Phaser. Haha. Emperor Wumian smiled, then raised his hand and grabbed in the direction of Lin Ke. Without any movement, a tiny and panicked figure suddenly appeared in Emperor Wumian's hand. Level 28. So. Emperor Wumian looked at the little man in his hand and smacked his lips. Lin Ke only then realized. The one in Emperor Wumian's hand was the sky god of the Father Plane. No need. Lin Ke said quickly, I have the overlord here. Other overlords. He took out the thing that Ruin gave him, the glass bead that sealed the gold-plated overlord. Oh. Emperor Wumian was a little surprised. The little guy has a lot of surprises. The 5-colored dragon mother and the others also had different expressions. Obviously, they didn't expect Lin Ke to prepare our overlord himself. You know, Lin Ke is only level 15. Lin Ke didn't explain much. After taking out the glass bead, he took out the complete legendary lore, a complete string of things that looked like floating sand. Wumian took it and threw it to the moon goddess. Moon, come on. Wumian came over and looked at the moon goddess. The moon goddess nodded gently, took the thing, and looked at Lin Ke indifferently. Lin Ke hesitated and took out the true spirit of AOF. This is the true spirit in the bottle of order potion, a light spot like a firefly. The moon goddess waved her hand gently, and the light spot flew out directly from the bottle wall and floated on her palm. Then, the glass bead floated on the palm of her other hand. The legendary lore was directly absorbed into the body of the moon goddess, as if she was breathing, and then she closed her eyes. The next moment, his eyes opened directly, and the whole eyeball turned black, with stars in it, and there was a full moon in his left eye. Soul. The moon goddess shouted softly. The sound was not loud, and it only echoed in the hall. But at this time, the whole great wilderness city was dark, and the sky of Nasang suddenly changed. The sky that was originally sunny was covered with night, and a full moon hung high. Lin Ke had seen this mirror image before, when the moon goddess saved Lady Tide. But at that time, the sun god came out to fight. This time, the sun god didn't dare to fart, and the sky of Nasang naturally became dark. Night has fallen. The power of the moon goddess. The great, supreme, and supreme goddess. Many people pointed to the sky. There are many powerful people who can partially change the celestial phenomena, but only the master can directly change the entire Nasang. Among the masters, only the moon goddess has the ability to make the night fall. In this case, her power has been greatly increased, and there are many other effects. At this time, at the top of the great wilderness tower, the moon goddess was suspended in the air in the hall, emitting strands of faint light, and a feeling of tranquility and peace spread throughout the hall. In the glass ball, the gilded master let out a faint wail and scream, which sounded extremely painful. Crack. The moon goddess crushed the glass bowl directly, and the body of the gilded master suddenly appeared. But it was a human who was nearly 2 meters tall. This human was shining with gold, and covered with golden powder. However, in the next moment, the eyeballs of the gilded master suddenly collapsed, and then became 2 dark holes in the collapse. He opened his mouth wide and let out a silent scream. During this process, a soul shining with golden light emerged from his head. It was his soul. Reverse. The moon goddess gently tapped the soul of the gilded lord. Suddenly, the light in the space faded, as if it had entered the night from dusk, and then the light reappeared in the next moment. During this process, Aofu's true spirit also rushed into the soul of the gilded lord, like a seed, stretching out dark lines, like cracks all over the soul. Boom. 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 A series of heartbeats came from this soul. The moon goddess's face suddenly turned pale, as if she had been drained of energy, and her steps stumbled. Then Aofu's true spirit quickly disappeared into the soul, and the soul quickly rushed back to the body. The body of the gilded lord was like a stone statue, and the gold powder on the outside broke into pieces, and finally turned into an old man in a purple robe. It was Aofu. Teacher. Lin Ke couldn't help but exclaimed. Within 10 days, Aofu will wake up. By the way, you can also add the laws about the gilded lord. In addition, this is the true spirit of the gilded lord. The moon goddess threw a true spirit at Lin Ke, and then she didn't say a word. Her figure flashed and disappeared from the spot. Even the sleepless emperor didn't say anything. Lin Ke caught the true spirit of the gilded lord. He didn't know what it was for, but he still collected it in case it was useful in the future. Lin Ke walked over excitedly, and looked at Aofu. Aofu's body already had a breath of life, but it was extremely weak, like a flame on a winter night. However, the soul of the gilded lord was like firewood, fueling Aofu's true spirit, allowing Aofu's true spirit to thrive and grow a soul again. If the true spirit is a person's personality, essence, and nature, then the soul is a person's spiritual gains in this life. When the soul grows up, Aofu will be able to regain consciousness. This process takes 10 days. Haha, well, my friend AOF is resurrected, and everyone is happy. Emperor Wumian seemed to be in a particularly good mood today. No one knew what had happened to him, but the next sentence brought Lin Ke back to his senses. I had a fight with the master of the main plane, and got a leg back. My family cooked it for dinner tonight. Chapter 387, Grilled Squid Overlord. Main plane? A main plane like Nassim? Lin Ke's pupils shrank, the one before. Before entering Fasa, Wumian told Lin Ke that the significance of this noble deliberation was to work together, to cultivate the people of Nassim. Because a powerful main plane was discovered by Wumian and his friends. In fact, the discovery of this main plane was during the war between the lava swamp and Azen. At that time, the kingdom of Giba was leaderless, leaving the eldest prince and the moon goddess in power, and Wumian and his friends all ran out to fight with another main plane. Now, because the two planes had discovered each other's existence, they are getting closer to each other. It only takes 100 years to get very close, and even to the extent that only a few thousand kilometers can be reached. Therefore, Nassim must unite. And now, Emperor Wumian actually went to fight with the master on the opposite side, and got a leg. Look how proud you are. Seeing Wumian's smug look, the five-colored dragon mother glanced at him unhappily, and then said to Lin Ke, Lin Ke, you have to know that we can't be your umbrella forever. At this point, Lin Ke basically understood. Emperor Wumian and the five-colored dragon mother were a little anxious. With the ability of Emperor Wumian, he could only leave one leg of the opponent, so you can imagine how powerful the opponent is. And although Emperor Wumian didn't say it, Lin Ke guessed that Emperor Wumian also had a certain price. At this time, they were very worried that after they were gone, Lin Ke and the others would find it difficult to support themselves. So they were eager to train. I understand. Lin Ke nodded heavily. Wumian waved his hand. It's okay, they can't beat me in tens of millions of years. You little guys, grow up quickly. Emperor Wumian was still domineering, but Lin Ke knew that he didn't have much time to grow. 100 years seems simple, but even with his talent, he must work very hard to become a legend. He is now at level 14, and even if he breaks through level 15, he is not sure that he can master the law body. He is still far away from the legends behind. Moreover, in this war between the main planes, legends can no longer control the situation. The master is the decisive force. 100 years. Lin Ke was silent for a while. Wumian began to ask other things. Is the preparation for this event big enough to accommodate tens of thousands of people? Wumian naturally came to a chair and sat down with a relaxed expression. Tens of thousands of people. Lin Ke stood in place and answered, in a medium-sized space that can accommodate 300,000 people. 300,000? Exclamation mark. Emperor Wumian nodded slightly. It seems that you are well prepared. You know, 300,000 people. This is a number that many medium-sized cities in Assen may not have. Lin Ke may have such a big show. It seems that he is particularly confident about this event. I won't say anything else. With me here, I don't think those scoundrels will come out to make trouble. You can do it boldly. Wumian was very domineering, with absolute confidence in his every move. I'll give you enough energy in the next 2 days. You should be able to break through to level 15, right? How is your law body prepared? Emperor Wumian was asking Lin Ke. Lin Ke has been at level 14 for a while. However, he has been polishing and compressing his magic power, and has not made a breakthrough. I'm sure. Lin Ke was actually a little hesitant. After all, he was not sure about his mastery of the laws of thermodynamics and optics. Young man, you should be brave and fearless. Emperor Wumian laughed twice. Come to me if you want a breakthrough. We'll leave first. Oh, by the way. Emperor Wumian was about to leave, but suddenly seemed to remember something, turned around and said, the master is an octopus monster. How do you think it should be cooked? I heard that you have many novel ways of eating. Octopus? Squid? Octopus? You can give it to our chef. He has many cooking skills. Lika knew about this. She had to eat sour horn milk cake every day, and she was very familiar with all the chefs in Dahuang City. Okay, here you go. Emperor Wumian threw a space ring to Lika, and then disappeared with the five-colored dragon mother. Lin Ke and the others were left behind. Lin Ke first went over and released a colorful bubble to wrap Aofu's body. This is the fish bubble of a deep sea giant whale, and it is a level 15 deep sea giant whale. After being polished and carved by the secret writer, this fish bubble is now a very good recovery tool. Lin Ke took out the master level leg that Wumian gave her. Wow, a huge squid tentacle was taken out of the space ring by Lin Ke, and the mucus on it was about to spurt out in an instant. Fortunately, Lin Ke was quick-witted and used the air pressure shield to seal the master. Several people came forward to look at it curiously. The squid's tentacles are about 2 meters in diameter at their widest point, and definitely more than 10 meters long, but they are tied together with a rope. Even the rope has the aura of a divine weapon. And there is no suction cup on this squid tentacle, but some flesh holes left after being removed. Judging from the shape, the things that were originally in the position of these flesh holes should be eyeballs. There are no suction cups on this purple octopus tentacle, but eyeballs. Wow. What a big squid. Lin Ke looked at the squid tentacles and drooled immediately. She poked Lin Ke with her elbow and said, "There is a new teppanyaki squid restaurant next to the community. Have you eaten it?" Lin Ke understood. "Okay, you just find someone to do it. Be careful. There are many legends in the city now. Legends who can fight with Emperor Wumian have no idea how much energy and laws are contained in their bodies. If you are not careful, it is easy to attract the covetousness of others. But now that Wumian is in the city, there is no need to worry too much." After Lin Ke also jumped away with Zhao Nuomi, Lin Ke also took Aofu to the safest place, that is, the top of the Great Wasteland Tower, and placed him there, and let the Magma Dragon and Velen take care of it. As for the Father Plane, he has no time to take care of it now. The god of the sky was just caught by Wumian and thrown back, and I believe he dare not act rashly. What is important now is the event. He has already made plans for the event. But there are too many monsters and demons in the Great Wasteland City at this time. If it weren't for the Emperor Wumian, Lin Ke would not dare to convene it. Of course, there are too many legends and gods whose identities are unknown in the Great Wasteland City now. Not only from Nasang, but also from many other planes. There are even some powerful professionals who have detained some legends and gods of the secondary planes, ready to use them at the auction at any time. For example, if you want something and don't have enough money, kill a god on the spot and then use the godhood to make up for it. In the past few days, the auction and the Great Wasteland City has also received many precious items. These are all brought by professionals, asking for monthly tickets at the beginning of the month. Chapter 388, Building a Platform. Nasang's version of Teo Bao. Why is this event called the Nasang Festival? If it only relied on the foundation of Link's Great Wasteland City, it could be held barely, but the attraction would definitely not be that great. This time, the attraction was so great that even people from the other two adjacent continents, that is, the other two planes, came to participate. The same is true in the ocean, including the ocean of stars and waves and the primal storm sea. This kind of event is caused by many reasons. The most important and basic ones are the strong men above level 15 and below level 20 captured by Lin Ke, who contain the blood of various forces in Nasang. These people are the most basic. Above this are other specialties of the Great Wasteland City, some bulk materials, mainly night mounts, such as lions, water snakes, and the latest bicycle invented by Lin Ke. Of course, there are some other specialties. In addition to this, it is the right to develop the plane, which is developed in a joint stock system. This is the highlight, and is also valued by many strong men. Under the plane development, based on the joint stock system, resources can be more utilized. Lin Ke will also build a platform for this. Now, the internet system that has been explored is in the stone in Lin Ke's hand, and in the father. And the platform is also being built. Lin Ke is going to build 3 platforms. The first one is the magic business platform, which is benchmarked against the e-commerce in the previous life, and is mainly a third-party platform. In short, it is to make money. The second one is a big data center. This is mainly used to collect information. There is a saying in the previous life that, after mastering big data, you know the customer better than the customer himself. For example, a water legend has bought a lot of fire products in a row, which will give rise to countless speculations. such as whether he has a partner, whether he has offspring, and whether he is comprehending new laws. Then combined with the infant products he suddenly bought, it can be speculated that he may have offspring, or that he may be a legitimate outside, and even the race, attributes, etc. This is a macro use of big data, and there are more functions in the macro. As for the third platform, it is a security platform. It includes online and offline platforms. Online is network security, and offline is similar to monitoring. After these three platforms are built, they will be slowly expanded, such as distribution centers, including Tequila and express delivery, such as selection centers, selecting products from the stars. But these are all later. The first three items of the event are slaves, bulk commodities, and shares of plain development rights. After that, there are other commodities. These commodities use the auction as a platform. The unsold commodities or commodities that are not auctioned will be circulated to the trading center, and they will be bought and sold like those e-commerce platforms in the previous life. In the past few days, a large number of professionals have thrown the things they obtained from the stars of the heavens to the trading center, or the temporary business department of the trading center. The trading center is located inside the Wonder Grand Mall. The establishment of the trading center has made Lin Ke's Grand Mall look a little bit more spectacular. And today is a day when the trading center is completed. Licker and the others went to roast the legs of the master, that is, the squid tentacles. Lin Ke went to the Grand Mall to take a look. After placing Aofu, Lin Ke came to the top of the tower. At the top of the Great Wilderness Tower, Xiao Xingan was combing his hair. He landed after seeing Lin Ke coming up. "Brother, where are you going?" Xiao Xingan's voice sounded in Lin Ke's mind. Grand Mall. Lin Ke turned over and sat on Xiao Xingan, crouching down. "Cry." Xiao Xingan roared to the sky. His body was wrapped in flames, and then flew to a corner of the Great Wasteland City. Some professionals below saw it, and couldn't help but feel envious. That's the flying mount of the Lava Duke. It is said to have half of the blood of the storm seagull, 1/4 of the thunder parrot, and 1/4 of the phoenix. A lizard man with waxy yellow scales looked at the sky and said enviously, "Nonsense. It's clearly 1/2 of the phoenix bloodline, and 1/2 of the thunder sea eagle bloodline." A mercenary who looked like a down and out human noble retorted, "Humph, I'm a loyal reader and collector of the Great Wasteland Monthly, and the honor winner of 300 consecutive must-read books of the Great Library. So what? I have successfully been accepted 5 times in the submission of the Great Wasteland newspaper. And I'm also a 1-star honorary reporter. TSKI. The two people quarreled, and at the same time, many people also talked about Lin Ke. They actually envied Lin Ke. His talent was said to be close to the top talent, and he could also seduce Wu Mian's daughter. No matter how they thought about it, they were envious and jealous. But Lin Ke's power was there. People who were originally top chose to look at Lin Ke, and those who were not originally top would envy and hate him. But most people still envy him. More young people, especially those of the human race, worship and imitate him. Amidst this discussion, Lin Ke came to the big shopping mall, landed, and came to the door of the big shopping mall. Xiao Xingan went to the roof to wait for him, and he entered alone. The big shopping mall is similar to the shopping mall in the previous life. The difference is that the big shopping mall here is built with the power of professionals, so it is more solid. Especially after Velen added some materials, the overall building is almost the same as the Great Wall Fortress. Among them, there are restaurants, wholesale stores, and various retail stores. There are things from the Great Wasteland City and things outside the Great Wasteland City, such as silk produced by the Earl of Kingsey in the distant region and silk from the Great Wasteland City, such as the Greenleaf Juice Bar, the Flame Bar, etc. Walking in, a feeling of prosperity hits you, and there are crowds of people. The dazzling array of things was swept away in an instant, and then quickly replenished by the restocker, or the restocker. Many restaurants had small spaces when they were first established, and Lin Ke added a lot in the following days. But it still couldn't stop the huge flow of customers. Lin Ke just glanced lightly and could see the shopkeepers at the cash registers, each smiling and sweating as they counted money and settled accounts. Following the flow of people, Lin Ke sat on the magic escalator and slowly walked up, just as if to relax. When he came to the top of the building, there were several empty spaces with 3 small spaces stuffed in them. Lin Ke walked to the space on the right, where people were busy going in and out. They were busy building a trading center. On the side, Tower was watching and directing. Idiot. Don't click randomly. That button means delete. Oh, Andrew's leg. Are you illiterate? Can't you understand the Nasan common language? Damn it. I advise you to go to adult school for further studies. And Tower's face was covered with sweat, and a small silk fan kept fanning. Lin Ke came but didn't notice. Auntie, let me help you. Asking for money at the beginning of the month. Chapter 389, Goddess of Finance, Success. Little Lin Ke. And Tower turned around, fanning herself, and was slightly surprised. Where's your mother? Lin Ke choked. Where's Feudal? Did Lin Ke want to tell her aunt that Feudal's soul had already gone to the astral world and that she was in great danger? But, although Lin Ke didn't say anything, and Tower's face changed, and Tower stopped directing them and walked over quickly with a hint of panic in her eyes. What's wrong, Lin Ke? What's wrong with my sister? And Tower was a little flustered. Lin Ke didn't expect Tower to be so sensitive. He just didn't pay attention, but Tower found out. Little did he know that Tower had watched Lin Ke grow up, and she could say that she was very familiar with Lin Ke's every move. The sadness that flashed in Lin Ke's eyes just now was captured by her. In addition, there are many strong people in the city now, and with Feudal's beauty, she is likely to be abducted. But she thought of the power of Emperor Wumian, and her heart relaxed a little. Auntie, you've been too tired lately. Lin Ke could sense that Antova was obviously too tired, so she was not very emotionally stable. The workers next to them were looking at Antova and Lin Ke, their eyes full of curiosity, and their eagerness to watch the show was overflowing. Yes. Antova realized that something was wrong with her, closed her eyes, and took a deep breath, then opened her eyes, and looked at Lin Ke. So, what happened to your mother? Lin Ke looked at Antova, and told her what Ruin had discovered. As she spoke, Antova's face became paler and paler. You know, Antova and Feudal's relationship is very good, like sisters. However, although Antova's face was paler this time, she did not completely collapse. Instead, she looked at Lin Ke worriedly and comforted him. Little Lin Ke, Feudal just went out to play. At this point, Antova paused. Now, Lin Ke is no longer a child. She looked at Lin Ke's grown-up and mature face, was in a trance for a moment, and continued, in the future, you will find your mother back. Lin Ke did not say much, but nodded heavily. Then I'll continue to work. Antova was a little absent-minded, and Lin Ke called her. No, auntie, go back and rest. Antova's current state is not suitable for continuing to work. Okay. Antova also knew that forcing herself to work like this would only hinder her, so she didn't refuse and prepared to go back to rest. Lin Ke took a deep breath before going to see the completion of the trading center. Here, the staff are busy setting up various equipment, most of which are various displays made of photostones. These displays are connected by electromagnetic waves and powered by magic. However, this kind of electromagnetic wave requires a lot of cost to be stable. If the network cable and internet technology are brought out from Phaser, it may be simpler and more convenient. However, Lin Ke will be able to return to Phaser later, and the most urgent thing is to check the situation of the trading center. After Antova left, Lin Ke came. For the workers here, they might want to be lazy, but under Lin Ke's supervision, they wanted to use all their strength, and they were full of energy. And just when Lin Ke was giving on-site guidance, someone suddenly came to him. Milk tea shop. Lin Ke didn't know why these girls loved milk tea, but he also liked dairy products. The milk tea here was all dairy products, so he didn't reject it. So, you sense the opportunity for a breakthrough? Lin Ke pondered for a moment, and looked at Kanako across from him. That's right. Kanako was unruly, even when she was drinking milk tea. Her body lay irregularly on the seat. Her loose wizard robe barely covered what it should cover, and everything that shouldn't be covered was exposed. There was also a magic staff, which was placed softly between her legs. Lin Ke couldn't bear to watch. What do you need? Lin Ke wanted to end the conversation early and go back to recite the Diamond Sutra. Although Naseng was more open in marriage, Rika was not the kind of person who was willing to share. Need it? Sister, I need you. Kanako took 2 sips of milk tea, let out a comfortable moan, and licked the straw gently with her bright and tender little tongue. Hiss. Lin Ke took a deep breath in his heart, and his face was helpless. Okay, Kanako, you know Rika's temper. I don't mind. Kanako's eyes moved, and then she sucked the milk tea up and down, but the milk tea inside clearly did not move, but her 2 balls of legendary white and tender stones moved. Oh, I can't talk anymore. Lin Ke looked around. Fortunately no one was paying attention to this place, but it was also quite embarrassing. This hundreds of years old woman is a community cow. Okay, forget it if you don't need it, then I'll consider who should become a god first. Lin Ke snorted coldly, and was about to get up and leave. Kanako's eyes revealed a hint of loss, and then she chuckled a few times. Haha, brother, sister betrayed the goddess of wealth. That big and brainless idiot, but she has high hopes for you. As she said, Kanako's face became serious, and she said to Lin Ke, I can sense that the opportunity is in your trading center. Sure enough, Lin Ke understood that online payment might be on the agenda. In the current Dahuang City, you can swipe your card at will. As long as you are a resident of Dahuang City, you have an ID card, which can store property information. As long as you deposit the ASN coins in the bank, you can show it on your ID card and then swipe your card to pay in the store. From gold, silver and copper currencies directly to online payment, it has to be said that Dahuang City is at the forefront. Of course, there are also many troubles, but fortunately they have been solved one by one. And now, the establishment of the trading platform means that some of Lin Ke's previous life can also be copied. For example, Alipay. It must be said that Alipay is an epoch-making invention that transforms human civilization from cumbersome material general equivalence to data general equivalence. General equivalence, generally speaking, our money. Kanako may be just one step away from becoming a financial goddess. Let's do this, Kanako. I'll tell you something today. Lin Ke said in a deep voice, about money, about economy, about finance, about accounting, about wealth and value. Fortunately, he had dabbled in it in his previous life, and it was very easy to understand. The so-called money, no matter what kind of money it is, the greatest value should be the value it represents, rather than its own value. From shells in ancient times to gold and silver coins, and then to ASN coins. Lin Ke began to talk. Kanako listened carefully. She always knew that her lord was more powerful than many people, including the goddess of wealth. But today she knew that Lin Ke's strength far exceeded her imagination. This kind of powerful thinking and knowledge shocked and intoxicated Kanako, and she was intoxicated in learning that kind of knowledge. Chapter 390, Scientist, Branch 1. Just like a dried sponge, Kanako frantically absorbed and squeezed out the knowledge she had never touched from Lin Ke. No, it's not that she had never touched it. She had actually been touching it, but she couldn't grasp the essence. First of all, at the macro level, after the tribal era, when the private economy developed and people had surplus wealth, the meaning of value appeared. When survival is not guaranteed, the value of anything is only one, that is, to keep intelligent life alive. Whether it is bark or fat, whether it is gold coins or godhood, the only difference is whether it can fill the stomach. In addition, there are various survival needs such as rest and warmth. But when the survival needs are met, the needs of intelligent life become diversified. Some people like to eat beef, some like to eat pork, some like coriander, and some don't. In this case, everyone will use their surplus value to exchange for the surplus value of others. But among them, the values they think of each other are different. Some people will use expensive pork to exchange for coriander that is meaningless in the eyes of others. In this kind of barter, some people find it unreasonable, so gradually money evolved. No matter what it is, it can be used as an intermediary item, that is, it is used as an equivalent. A pound of pork is equal to 50 yuan, and a pound of coriander is equal to 20 yuan. In this way, both parties can sell their own things first, and then buy other things. In this process, pricing is also very important. Why are pork and coriander priced like this? There are reasons for this, namely market prices, supply and demand conditions, and their own value. Scarcity makes things valuable. Everyone needs to eat meat, but there are only a few kinds of meat, and coriander is a seasoning. So in this comparison, the most primitive transaction has the embryonic form of the economy. At the same time, in this process, everyone will produce their own value. If there is more excess value, it can be used for investment, that is, financial activities. Market entities conduct macro control of prices, and taxation supports the operation of political entities. Excess funds from the private sector are integrated through banks, insurance, stocks, etc., and the integrated money will become a lot and huge. This money can be used to invest in new industries, such as opening a pig farm, and then selling pork to make money. This is the transformation of finance and investment. As for which direction to invest, it depends on the needs of society and the world. If the world lacks food, everyone will grow food. If there is a lack of technology, people will be guided to think about science. In the whole process, accounting is needed to make the flow of funds reasonable, and auditing is needed to supervise and inspect. In simple terms, it is to create value, economic operation, finance and investment, accounting and auditing, and management and operation. Under the operation of this system, the whole society has spawned various industries, and the operation of these industries and professions has directly spawned a prosperous society of intelligent life. So, now you are clear about Nassen's system. In this, money, as a general equivalent, should be as convenient and fast as possible. So do you think it is better to use gold coins or worthless numbers? It took more than 3 hours for Lin Ke to explain the whole system to Chinako. Many of the knowledge points he mentioned can open new subjects: economics, finance, management, accounting, trade. Even under the subdivision, there are microeconomics, macroeconomics, banking, insurance, stock futures options funds, auditing, financial management. Of course, Lin Ke can't do it alone. In the future, he will definitely find a group of wise men to build this system together, this scientific system classified as a humanities subject. Of course, that's a later story. After finishing his talk, Lin Ke smacked his lips, took 2 sips of milk tea, and looked at Kanako. He talked so much because he wanted Kanako to make a breakthrough. Finance. Kanako's eyes were dull at this time, and she muttered to herself. She no longer had the intention of harassing Lin Ke, and was completely immersed in the things Lin Ke said. However, not long after Lin Ke finished his explanation, a huge feedback force flowed down and poured into Lin Ke and Kanako's bodies. Lin Ke closed his eyes and carefully felt the source of this feedback. One of the branches of scientists humanists. This feedback seemed to point to a new career direction. Just like the source of Lin Ke's bloodline, it should be the Emerald Tree Court bloodline, one of the bloodline branches of the ancient Elf King, the bloodline of the shepherdess of the Emerald Tree Court bloodline. If it continues to develop, the branch profession of scientists, humanists, may also be divided into many sub-disciplines. And another branch, naturalist, may also be divided into professions such as physics, chemistry, and biology. This is a huge system. Lin Ke was thoughtful. While he was receiving feedback, Kanako was also receiving feedback. Her understanding of finance was not weak, but she had not studied and explored it systematically. After Lin Ke's explanation and teaching, Kanako now received a lot of feedback. Breaking through the natural chasm of the gods is very huge. Even Nassen has not been through it for many years, and most people have become legends. Even with Lin Ke's ability, it did not help Kanako break through all at once. Still a little short. Lin Ke sensed the increasing power in Kanako's body, but such feedback still couldn't make Kanako break through directly. Kanako, you have to know that finance serves society, and society serves its people, Lin Ke said in a deep voice. As soon as these words came out, Kanako seemed to have broken through some constraints. Several strands of golden flames emerged from Kanako's head, entangled, and merged with each other. The surrounding element formed a vortex, and there were even signs of a storm. The people in the milk tea shop felt this magic riot, and they looked over curiously, and some ran out in panic. The manager of the milk tea shop knew that it was Lin Ke, so he came over to ask if they needed to close the shop. Sure. However, at this moment, the figure of the dark girl suddenly appeared in the milk tea shop and looked at Lin Ke and Kanako. She has broken through, and this place will be sucked empty. The dark girl pointed at Kanako with a dull look on her face and tilted her head to Lin Ke. Follow me. Lin Ke nodded immediately. Then the dark girl suddenly appeared in her hand with her huge sickle and waved it gently. Suddenly, before Lin Ke could react, he and Kanako disappeared. Only the confused milk tea shop owner and the customers who were excited to talk about what had just happened were left. Lin Ke's consciousness sank, and he found that he had come to an extremely strange place. The colorful paint-like thing wrapped him up, and he seemed to be in the paint made of air. Outside his body, there was a thin film that blocked this layer of paint. This is the Star Realm. The dark girl's voice sounded, and Lin Ke looked over and found that the dark girl was standing with Kanako. Kanako was fine, but the dark girl had a strong presence in this colorful world. Is this the starry sky? Lin Ke felt very uncomfortable. The visual sense alone made him want to vomit. Yes, you need to get used to it. After saying this, the dark girl stopped talking and looked at Kanako carefully. Chapter 391 New God. The feeling of the star world is weird. Lin Ke thought to himself. Outside the plane is the plane crystal wall. The plane crystal wall protects the plane, and above it are the sun, the moon, and many stars, dotted on the plane crystal wall. In a plane, generally there is only one continent. Many planes are just one continent, such as Fasa. There are also several planes that merge into one planet, such as Nasang, which merged with the other two continents. Outside the crystal wall, inside the star world, there is a void of nothingness. Outside the void is the star world. The rules, laws, element, etc. here are completely mixed together to form various turbulences. Only level 15 can barely survive here, level 18 can live a little longer, and level 20 can have some power of action here. Only gods and legends can move freely here with the help of the power of the law. Lin Ke felt that with his strength at this time, he could slightly resist those colorful turbulences here. Unfortunately, he might be exhausted in just 3 hours. He originally wanted to try to see if he could draw strength from it, but there was already movement over there. The light in Kanako's eyes shot out 2 or 3 meters away. The 3 flames on her head were circling faster and faster, and her arms opened unconsciously. But a strange wave spread in the turbulence of the star realm with Kanako as the center. Here it comes. The dark girl whispered softly, her eyes shining, just like Rika saw the sour fruit milk cake. The dark girl took out her sickle and then slashed to the side, creating a space crack. A slowpoke came from there, and then she sat on its back. Seeing this posture, Lin Ke raised his eyebrows. Want to fight? Gods and legends are just one of the predators in the star realm. New predators like Kanako are a great supplement for many star beasts. The dark girl rarely said a few more words, and she looked really excited. Bait? Lin Ke frowned. He didn't want Kanako's breakthrough to be affected. The dark girl just said that she would bring Kanako to breakthrough. It would be good for Kanako's breakthrough, so Lin Ke agreed to bring her. This is Nasang. Even if we use the attraction of the new gods, we can only barely attract 1 or 2 star beasts. Such a simple and practical trap can only attract some fools. The dark girl knew Lin Ke's worries, so she explained a few more words. The element and laws here are inexhaustible, which is better than becoming a god in Nasang. Are you sure there will be no danger? Although Lin Ke believed in the dark girl, he still wanted to confirm it again and again. The dark girl was too lazy to pay attention to him, but looked around excitedly, looking forward to the arrival of the star beast. Lin Ke also tried to influence the outside world, and found that some magic could not be used at all, and the skills were also very difficult. Only the skills ingrained in the profession could be used. Moreover, only his thermodynamic skills could be used, and the optical skills could not be used at all. It was probably because his comprehension of the laws was not enough. The professions and skills of other bloodlines were even worse. Only the skills of the profession, leader, could be moved slightly, but they could not be released. The rules here are too messy, and he can't effectively provoke them. This also made him understand why Nasang could only become the main plane after entering the legendary era of professionals. The power of legends belongs to oneself. Gods are not good enough in front of legends, and one of the reasons why they can't beat legends is this. And it's even more so when traveling in the astral world. Although gods can also move easily in the astral world, the strength they exert is far less than that of legends. The gods of countless planes in the heavens and stars are basically like this, so some gods are timid and never come out again after seeing the horror of the astral world and shrink in their own planes. The sky god of Face is a typical representative. Some gods are full of exploration. After becoming gods, they lead the strong men of their own planes to explore the heavens and stars and embark on the road to becoming the main plane. So far, Nasan has not encountered a main plane stronger than himself, which is also the effect of legends. Perhaps in the future, a stronger system than professionals will be found, but the positive and enterprising Nasan will also learn it, grow rapidly and then be on par with them. But no matter what, as a legendary Lin Ke, he can use his skills slightly in the turbulence of the star realm at level 14, which is already very good. Just when Lin Ke was trying, Kanako finally broke through. The intertwined divine fire finally condensed and turned into a golden irregular stone. Looking at this stone, Lin Ke felt a kind of enlightenment. This is the godhead of financial law. In other words, it is a godhead that is based on financial law and economic, wealth, accounting and other laws are secondary. After this godhead appeared, an inexplicable fluctuation spread again. But still nothing appeared. There was a bit of disappointment in the eyes of the dark girl, and the godhead slowly flew into Kanako's body. Kanako closed her eyes and felt her own changes. Lin Ke smiled and shook her head and began to try to use her skills in the star realm. The dark girl was very disappointed, but she was interested when she saw that Lin Ke was using skills and could also attract a little bit of the power of law. I'll open a hole. The voice of the dark girl was transmitted to Lin Ke. Lin Ke nodded slightly. So, the film wrapped around his body opened slightly as big as the gap between his fingernails, and the colorful water flowing beside him immediately pressed inward. Lin Ke held his breath and concentrated, condensing his air pressure shield to block it. The air pressure shield, which belongs to the thermodynamics skill, immediately blocked the astral turbulence. It can be blocked. Lin Ke couldn't help but feel a little happy in his heart, and then said to the dark girl, I can try. Slowly let go. The dark girl also nodded, slowly letting go of Lin Ke's protection. She squatted on the slowpoke, sticking her head up, watching Lin Ke try. It seemed that in her eyes, being able to protect oneself independently in the astral turbulence at level 14 was rarer than Kanako's breakthrough to become a god. As the film unfolded, Lin Ke gradually became a little tired. It was as if a small stream of water that was originally the size of a fingernail gradually became the size of a fist, and then became a huge torrent. When the dark girl fully deployed her protection against Lin Ke only felt as if he was in a huge flood, and his body was repeatedly ravaged and crushed by the impact of this torrent. In this torrent, Lin Ke felt that his thermodynamic shield was like wearing a raincoat. Wearing a raincoat in a flood is useless. Of course, not entirely. Although Lin Ke was hit by the turbulent flow, at least he could protect his body from being hurt, although he couldn't move at all. In this scouring, Lin Ke could feel that his concentration of the power of the professional was improving, and his control over the law was also changing. Even the bottleneck that he had suppressed for a long time showed signs of loosening. However, he has not yet fully mastered the body of law. According to his experience in reading literature in his previous life, he dared to break through without a 98% certainty. Unexpectedly, just as he was feeling the scouring and suppressing the power in his body, there was a change in the star realm. Damn breath. The human who owns the treasure of Zernatal. That is the land of Wumian. He ran out of Wumian's territory. Raw. Haha, the ancient blood of Azane. A series of chaotic voices rang out, accompanied by a group of life forms approaching quickly. At the beginning, when the first voice sounded, the dark girl's eyes became happy and excited. When the fifth voice sounded, the dark girl's eyes became solemn. When the ninth voice appeared, the dark girl's face changed. She swung her sickle and suddenly turned into a dark ray that enveloped Lin Ke and also enveloped Kanako, who was absorbing nutrients from the astral turbulence to grow. Lin Ke felt that he was trapped in a warm and quiet darkness. Kanako, who was standing not far away, was standing like him. However, just 1 second later, Lin Ke suddenly felt a crazy vibration. The dark girl is fighting. but Lin Ke believes that the dark girl can solve it because the Emperor Wumian did not come. Emperor Wumian didn't come, probably because he thought the dark girl could handle it. If she couldn't, Emperor Wumian would have come long ago. You know, Emperor Wumian is very protective of his shortcomings. Be careful. It's the Desire Spider Girl. The dark girl's voice rang out in the dark space, very anxious. Ha ha ha. He slept. Then there was an arrogant and morbid female voice, accompanied by the sound of something white and tender being licked. Lin Ke didn't know what was happening outside, and he couldn't intervene in that kind of battle. In the next moment, the darkness shook again, and Lin Ke felt that the quiet and reassuring atmosphere had dissipated a lot. Kanako hadn't broken through yet, which made Lin Ke frown slightly. It's a bit unsafe. He still had 2 domination blows in his Wand of Annihilation, but it was a waste to use them here. By the way, Wumian and the others didn't come? Or did they think the dark girl could handle it? Or did the dark girl think she could handle it, so she didn't ask for help? Or Emperor Wumian couldn't control the situation in the Star Realm? Lin Ke was confused. However, the dark girl was able to protect the 2 burdens in this situation, so it didn't seem that critical. No. The voice of the Desire Spider Girl just now sounded again, and it seemed that she had been resolved. However, the next moment, the dark space trembled again. This tremor was not like an earthquake, but rather like the trembling of a human body. Along with the trembling, a thin layer of pink mist appeared in this dark space. Lin Ke frowned and immediately held his breath. Kanako seemed to have discovered something, so she frowned slightly, and a layer of small balls like pearls appeared around her body, surrounding her body. The overflow speed of the mist was far beyond Lin Ke's imagination. No, Lin Ke, you. The dark girl hadn't finished her words, and she fell into a fierce battle again. The pink mist rushed towards Lin Ke and Kanako. It felt like a thirsty life in the desert encountered clear and sweet spring water. Lin Ke quickly propped up the thermodynamic shield, but the pink mist penetrated directly, as if it didn't exist. On Kanako's side, the pearls were eroded by the pink mist, and dissipated in an instant, without even a second to stop. Even Kanako, who had just been promoted to a god, could not resist the pink mist. The mist rushed over and instantly sank into Lin Ke and Kanako's bodies. At the same time, a steady stream of pink mist continued to pour in, until it stopped after a few seconds. No matter what method was used, it could not be resisted. The pink mist seemed not to be a real mist, but a skill. When Lin Ke's body was immersed in that mist, it instantly rushed into his soul space. Not good. Lin Ke immediately wanted to use the Wand of Annihilation, but the speed of the pink mist made him completely defenseless. Wow. This mist suddenly covered the 3 small trees representing Lin Ke's bloodline, and the originally green autumn leaves took on a hint of pink. At the same time, Lin Ke only felt a stream of blood flowing down from the soul space, directly filled with blood. Could this be? Lin Ke's heart was suddenly filled with a sense of absurdity. Damn. How can a legendary master have such a skill? Exclamation mark. The next moment, Lin Ke looked at Kanako with red eyes. Kanako, who was originally stable, opened her eyes at this time, and her slightly red eyes also looked over, and her delicate lips were bright red. The stars of the heavens. Nothing is special. The dark girl rode on a person-high slowpoke, holding a huge sickle, charging in the turbulence of the stars. And there were 3 enemies in front of her. After a while, she was the only one left in the turbulence of the stars, and some broken limbs. Just now, there were 8 legends fighting against her. But as an old god, the dark girl showed an extremely powerful force. Although she is a god, she also has a part-time job. It's just that she was tricked this time. There is actually a Desire Spider Girl. This creature should have been endangered and extinct long ago, just like those unlucky fishmen. But today, a star-level Desire Spider Girl was controlled by a disgusting legend and exploded. The Spider Women of Desire. This group of intelligent life forms do not have any strong talents. They are ordinary and mediocre. However, a legendary scholar once again discovered the special use of this Spider Woman in an accidental experiment. When the Spider Woman has sex with her own kind, she will release a beneficial neurohormone, which can not only promote the growth of the blood of both parties, but also make the man more durable and rapid. So, the original Spider Woman was given the title of Desire. As a result, the group of spider women of desire embarked on the road to extinction. 10,000 years ago, the spider women of desire had disappeared in Nasm. Thousands of years ago, the glands they left behind had become rare items that various nobles scrambled for. Now, the dark girl is rarely seen. The last time I saw her was in the teacup of the sleepless emperor. At that time, the sleepless emperor thought she didn't know, so he drank tea leisurely. Not long after that, Lin Ke was born. Regarding the content of Expand and Talk, the next chapter. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 392. How about considering John? The dark girl stood on her mount and looked at Lin Ke. The slowpoke looked stupid, and the dark girl also looked expressionless. However, there was a hint of pain in the eyes of the slowpoke, because the dark girl was desperately fiddling with its ears. You can teach, but why in my stomach? The dark girl looked at Lin Ke and Kanako seriously, making them look embarrassed. It's not what you think, and we didn't know it was your stomach. Lin Ke scratched his head, feeling that his toes were so embarrassed that they could dig out an abyss, the kind with 999 layers, 100 more than the abyss of Gila. You taught for the past 2 days. I was fighting outside, and I was very tired. The dark girl was serious, and Lin Ke and Kanako were like students being taught a lesson. But, wait, your focus shouldn't be. Lin Ke suddenly felt something was wrong. This dark sister, is there something wrong with her focus? What are you paying attention to? Are you very active? Do you have a long time? The dark girl was puzzled, but I have observed that Luca Butterfly Demon and Freya Deep Sea Giant Whale have both been active longer than you. No. Lin Ke was a little confused about the dark girl's train of thought. They are also more active than you, and they make a lot of noise. The dark girl added. Lin Ke, I don't believe it. Bah. Is this the time to talk about this? Aren't you afraid that Lin Ke will be sad? Lin Ke was a little confused. Logically speaking, Lin Ke is the apple of the eye of all princes and princesses, and the dark princess is also someone who cares about Lin Ke very much. Why should she be sad? This time it was the dark girl's turn to be confused. Why should we talk about Lin Ke? I'm talking about you teaching in my stomach. Lin Ke was dumbfounded. Your Majesty Bindanagila. This time it was Kanako who spoke. Excuse me, how do we need to compensate you for your losses? Lin Ke could make jokes like the dark girl. After all, they were of the same generation, and Lin Ke was at least of the same generation as the dark girl. But for Kanako, the dark girl is a powerful god. As a newly promoted god, he should respect the dark girl. Compensation? The dark girl paused and said to Kanako, 10,000 fanatics and the power of faith of Xiao, the kind that has been refined. Kanako, okay. It was a very simple request. Not to mention that Kanako was already a god. Even if he was just a demigod, he could do it. After all, he still had a small or medium-sized plane under his name. I'll take you back. The dark girl gently waved her sickle, and the darkness enveloped Lin Ke and Kanako, returning to Nasm. In Lin Ke's villa, Lin Ke was sitting on the sofa, flipping through a book with the title Viscount Colton and his domineering butler. She flipped through the book with a happy face. I don't know if it was because of the heat or what, but her face was flushed from reading the book. When Lin Ke and Kanako appeared in the living room with the dark girl, Lin Ke was startled. She put the book in her hand into the space ring at the fastest speed in her life, stood up with a blushing face, looked at Lin Ke and the others, and dodged her eyes. Ahem, you're back. But then, she found that Lin Ke and the other three looked a little strange. There's something fishy. Rika decided to take the initiative, so she shouted, what's going on? Lin Ke. He is too familiar with Rika. Rika is guilty? Guilty? Lin Ke can't be fooled. But Kanako is not that familiar with Rika, so she panicked. I became a god. A lot of water, charge, self-root, explore the truth. Kanako was in a panic and didn't know what she was saying. Lin Ke took a deep breath and looked at the dark girl, suggesting that the dark girl leave. He was going to admit his mistake. Why are you looking at me? The dark girl was surprised. That, please leave for a while. Thank you. I have family matters to discuss. Lin Ke said that the dark girl's brain circuit is different from that of normal people, and he can tolerate it. Oh. The dark girl immediately walked out, but stopped at the door outside the villa. Lin Ke, you are a great god in your 20s. What's the difference between standing within 500 meters and within 5 centimeters? Exclamation mark. Seeing that Lin Ke was still talking, Rika was already annoyed by Kanako at this time, and she was in a big trouble. Hey Lin Ke, what on earth is Kanako going to say? Is she cursed by some legendary level? Rika was helpless. Don't pay attention to the dark girl. She is just a warrior, often hiding in the dark to peek. If you continue to talk, she will be invisible, and you can't see her. Hearing this, Lin Ke no longer cared about the dark girl, but came to Rika solemnly, holding Rika's shoulders, and looking straight at Rika. Seeing this, Kanako's eyes darkened, and her divine power showed signs of acidification. Outside the door, the dark girl stared at the door with wide eyes, as if she could see through the door to the inside, and by the way, she also summoned her mount Slowpoke to watch with her. Ha ha ha. Slowpoke hummed at the dark girl, as if talking. Yeah, I haven't seen it for a long time. The dark girl nodded. Ha ha, yes, I didn't absorb it. I put it all in my stomach for them to absorb. Ha ha, what else? It's impossible that I absorbed the poison gas and then asked someone to teach me. Ha. Never mind, I'll slowly grind the remaining poison gas. Ha ha ha. Oh, don't ask. Leave if you don't want to see it. Ha. The dark girl whispered to her mount, and her voice was blocked by the barrier she held up, and could not be transmitted. However, there was a barely detectable blush on the dark girl's cheeks, and even the scene of Lin Ke exploring the biological truth with Kanako in her stomach flashed through her mind. Thinking of Lin Ke's bravery when he charged with a gun on his mount, her face became even redder. It's annoying. Her mount is a financial goddess, and my mount is a hippo. Then she took the mount back directly. At this time, Lin Ke, who was looking directly at Rika, was about to speak. Rika, I love you. You and Kanako, hum hum hum. Rika smacked her lips. Lin Ke was startled, and then he immediately knew that Rika had seen through it. So he quickly said, yes, but there is a reason. Great, you are finally open. By the way, do you want to try a man? I think John is pretty good. Rika's eyes were suddenly full of curiosity. I know, this is not a reason, but listen to my quibbling. No, listen to my explanation. I swear, I declare, I promise, Lin Ke was still talking, but suddenly he was stunned. You. Lin Ke stared at Rika with his eyes wide open. There was not a trace of blame or sadness in Rika's green eyes, but innocence and smile. Oh my god, I've always been afraid that my husband is a Kusbi conifer man. He is trained once every 500 years. Fortunately, Lika patted Link's shoulder. Since you are normal, I'm relieved. Of course, the only regret is, by the way, don't you really consider John? Chapter 393 Be a true nobleman of the Nathan style. Do you really not consider John? Lin Ke was a little confused now. John was treated as his own brother. Consider Andrew's leg. How has Lalita led Rika to be? No, it should be said that Rika's nature should actually be inherited. For example, the Misty Princess seems to like Ruin very much, and Ruin likes men. The Sleepless Emperor is so pitiful. Lin Ke's mind was full of various thoughts at this time, and he didn't know how to communicate with Rika. The various health situations he had expected did not come true, but this kind of situation that made him at a loss. Kanako was stunned. But Lin Ke wanted to say something, but Rika gently pressed his mouth with her index finger. The atmosphere was quiet for a while. Lin Ke, I think you have always had problems with your thinking. Rika smiled, but she didn't look naughty like just now. Is there a problem? Lin Ke didn't understand what Rika meant. He felt that Rika's thinking was problematic. Lin Ke, I know you love me very much. Rika smiled and touched Lin Ke's cheek, but you have to know that your excellent bloodline needs to be passed on. This is the mission of the nobility. I know that you have always believed that monogamy is a respect for me, and I'm very happy about it, but I have always known that I can't possess you like that. Possession is not love. I hope you can let go of the threshold in your heart and become a real Nasan noble, not a freak tied by me. Of course, as a woman, I will only be loyal to you. This is the result of your respect and love for me. My father once only wanted to be with my mother, but at the strong request of my mother, he took in many concubines, but unfortunately only 2 were left. What I want to say is that if my father didn't do this, the 2 of them would be criticized. They will be said to be disrespecting their noble bloodline, not considering the inheritance of their own kingdom, and being a jealous woman, etc. Unless I die like the wife of the Marquis of Ice, no one can blame me or you, because you only have me, then you can be alone. Lin Ke said a lot, nagging, and Lin Ke could also feel the sincerity in Lin Ke's words. In summary, Lin Ke hopes that Lin Ke has other lovers, which is attributed to her traditional ideas, the education she received, and the sense of mission of the kingdom and the human race. She hopes that Lin Ke will have many descendants who can inherit his bloodline and pass on his excellent bloodline and profession. At that time, she will be like the 5-colored dragon mother, doing her best to be good to every woman of Lin Ke and Lin Ke's descendants. But you can't find too many people, at least you can't be promiscuous, because that will make Lin Ke feel that she is not trusting the right person. In the end, Lin Ke just felt that this is the gap between the world and civilization. Just like in the previous life, Lin Ke heard that it is normal to walk on the street without clothes in some places, and you say that you are interfering with their freedom. This kind of freedom, Lin Ke is quite rejected, but the lighthouse thinks that it is freedom. Different traditions and ideas will give birth to different civilizations. But in short, Lin Ke's guilt finally dissipated. As for you, Rika looked at Kanako and touched her chin. I know that you were raised by the Temple of Wealth since you were a child. The goddess of wealth is my father's adopted daughter. She has an Oedipus complex and has always wanted to monopolize my father. At this point, Lin Ke understood. No wonder Kanako has the same monogamous concept as him. It turns out that she was influenced by the goddess of wealth since she was a child. As for the dark girl and Rika, they received the best education in the kingdom of Gila. But no matter what, it's good that Rika is not disappointed and sad. Seeing that Lin Ke and Kanako were relieved, Rika smiled obscenely and looked at Kanako. How is it? With Kanako's scheming, her old face blushed when Rika asked. He, since you are already one of my husband's wives, I won't be polite. As she spoke, Rika rubbed her hands obscenely, approached Kanako, and looked at Kanako's snowy pair. What are you going to do? As a new god, Kanako felt helpless at the first moment. No, the second moment. The first moment was a few hours ago. Outside the door, the dark girl, who was about to leave because she had no melon to eat, heard Lin Ke's words and couldn't help but hold her forehead as if she had thought of something. She wanted to leave directly, but curiosity drove her to take a look. But at this time, Lin Ke, who was a head shorter than Shinako, pounced on it and grabbed the fruit with both hands. Ha, this is even better than the fragrant milk fruit cake. Lin Ke shouted wildly, accompanied by the sound of smacking her lips. Lin Ke was stunned. Lin Ke, who was obviously already in the state of a great sage, had a stream of lava coming out of his body at this time, and then he joined the battle with Chinako's exclamation. The dark girl didn't know how she finished watching this scene, and she didn't even know when her slowpoke appeared. She only knew that her mount's back became wet after she sat on it. Today is the day when the grand event begins. The great wasteland city is already boiling, with mounts running everywhere on the streets, and the shops are also full. All kinds of intelligent life gathered in the great wasteland city. Intelligent beings can see the Tauran chieftain riding a saber-toothed tiger private mount and the deep-sea mermaid noble riding a hurricane mammoth rental mount waiting for the traffic light. You can see that a level 18 divine magician of a certain god church was fined for littering. When he was about to make a scene, he was startled by the sudden appearance of his own god, and then he was taken away to apologize to the urban management. You can even see the legendary killer of the famous town continent queuing up to buy the latest limited edition 0-calorie sundae with milk berry flavor. 0-calorie sugar will not affect the figure, which just happens to not affect the flexibility and beauty of this legendary female killer. In short, you can see everything here, and the scenes you can see are generally not seen in other places. In other places, ordinary people want to find the level 18 divine magician. The moment ordinary people look at the strong, perhaps ordinary people will be evaporated. This also makes many people like Dahuang City more and more, and marvel at the deterrent power of the Lava Duke. He is only about 20 years old, but he has the strength and fame that many people have never had in 2000 years. In the past few days, there are many bards and singers on the streets praising the greatness of the Lava Duke. Lava Duke Lin Ke is a true noble. This is true in every aspect. Of course, many people think that it would be better if Lin Ke had more wives and more offspring. Especially those etiquette masters in the abyss think so. They think that Lin Ke only has liquor as a wife and is not a true noble and is not truly responsible and accountable. True responsibility and commitment are not afraid of being burdened by debts and are brave enough to pass on their bloodline. Lin Ke, maybe not a true noble? Chapter 394 Opening Ceremony and Wedding. Is Lin Ke a real noble? At least before today, Lin Ke thought that he was only a noble in the civilization and thinking of his previous life. In Nasang, Lin Ke was considered a noble at least yesterday, after he had a pair of sisters and a goddess. And today is the big day of Dahuang City, and it is also the first grand event of the entire Nasang. When was the last time so many people gathered? It is probably not the Noble Council, because not many people actually came to the Noble Council. If you insist, it may be traced back to the mythological era, when the Abyss was just established, and the frozen round table of the Everfreeze Council was established. Perhaps so many people gathered. Today, although it is not a battle, Dahuang City may also rise because of this. Lin Ke took a deep breath, and stepped into the venue. Dahuang Live Station. Dahuang Live Station. I'm the anchor Bingbing, very happy to meet you again. Now I am in the newly built building of Dahuang City, the Steel Stadium. As the highest level reporter in Dahuang City, Bingbing should serve as the anchor of this report again. And behind Bingbing is a huge building complex. The front of the building looks like a giant dragon with lava flowing out, and its mouth wide open. From the side, it looks like an exploding volcano or a pile of red-hot steel. This building was built by the famous master architect, Mr. Velen, a level 18 expert, and his disciples. It took only one day. Bingbing began to introduce the information about the Steel Stadium. The characteristics of her profession made her voice very easy to attract people's attention. It is said that Mr. Velen also benefited from this and broke through to level 18. At the end of the year, he will submit an application to the Wonder Committee to declare the Steel Stadium as a Nasang Wonder Building. Today, the grand gathering of all intelligent life in Nasang will be held here. Look, everyone, it's time to enter now. Bingbing pointed to the Steel Stadium. The Steel Stadium suddenly revealed dense holes, just like stacked steel pipes. The professionals jumped and flew, and entered their own place according to the instructions of the tickets they bought. Ordinary people walked, and there were stairs from the gate, but it was a little more troublesome. These tickets were made by the professional ticket seller of the wonderful land, and they could only be used once. People who walked in the wrong way would be bounced off by a layer of film on the surface of the building, and then continue to look for the next one. These seats for watching the game are different, and each seat has a different location and price. As a special reporter, Bingbing naturally had a ticket issued by the city hall at this time. She followed the photographer and walked to a film on the second floor. The interior of the stadium was very spacious and bright. Bingbing did not stop the live broadcast while introducing this event, Dahuang City, and Lin Ke with witty remarks. At this time, the live broadcast of this event was being transmitted to all parts of Nasang through electromagnetic waves. Abyss, a certain layer. Oh woo, boss, it's getting hotter and hotter here. Why don't we go to the boss and Ligwan Mobi? A frost wolf rolled in the snow, but the snow was not particularly thick, and the temperature of the whole space was about 3 or 4 degrees. Well, let's take a look first, and I'm afraid there's no place to live over there. Another frost wolf leader answered. After Ligwan Mobi left, they, as the Abyss Frost Wolf clan, could go to other layers to survive, but they now have other choices. As the leader of this layer of the Abyss Frost Wolf clan, he needs to consider a lot, and can't just choose, based on his preferences. A woo. Well, it feels really good to charge. After being a mount, the frost wolf lay on the ground, sticking out its tongue to breathe. The temperature above 0 degrees is like 30 degrees, a little hot. However, the next moment, Bing Bing's voice and picture came out from the live broadcast stone in front of them. Look, there are many small spaces in the iron and steel stadium, including rainwater space, ice and snow space, clear space, etc. These venues can be used as venues for various sports. In fact, our great wasteland city can now fully meet the living environment of almost all intelligent life. For example, our hydrogen and oxygen community is specially designed for various intelligent life in water. Of course, if there is no such community in Great Wasteland City at present, you just need to go to the city hall to apply for a new tribe residence permit. Of course, you should also pay attention that it must be a tribe. It is not okay to have only a few intelligent life. Bing Bing introduced this, and the frost wolves were stunned. It's decided. We will go too. Let's go now. Chief, why don't we watch the live broadcast before leaving? Otherwise it's a bit expensive to buy a replay stone. Second, the frost wolves quarreled and looked very excited. At this time, Bing Bing's picture turned to the inside of the iron and steel stadium. At this time, the iron and steel stadium was crowded with people, and cheers and shouts resounded throughout the venue. The venue looked very spacious, and it should be a large space. But the venue was not very large. Everyone could see the grass inside, the high platform next to the grass, and the flying red flag. That was the red flag of Azen. On the high platform stood Lin Ke. Lin Ke was wearing a scarlet outfit, which was made of the green silk spit out by the green silkworms in the Great Wasteland City. It was a magical item, and the style was a combination of a tuxedo and a wizard's robe. It looked noble and elegant, and it also showed Lin Ke's figure very well. It not only showed the elegance of a scholar and the fearlessness of a knight, but also revealed his temperament as a leader. And next to him stood the god of love and pleasure, Asia. Lin Ke held the scarlet annihilation staff in his hand and smiled and said next to the god of love, "Everyone, welcome to the Great Wasteland City." As soon as these words came out, the whole venue rang with cheers like a tidal wave. The cheers were directly transmitted to all parts of Nassau through the live broadcast photo stone, allowing everyone who was watching to feel the atmosphere. Lin Ke was also a little excited, but he still suppressed his excitement and kept his tone friendly and a little bit high. Dahuang City welcomes all the friendly lives from the stars. Welcome to Dahuang City to play. Welcome to settle down in Dahuang City. We will gradually increase the number of residence permits and ID cards issued in the future. The number of ID cards and residence permits issued has increased. This caused another sensation at the scene. Then, Lin Ke continued, "Of course, before that, I need to hold a wedding, my wedding with Lin Ke, and please invite Her Majesty Asia and everyone to witness it." Chapter 395 Sophie. Wedding. Before everyone on the scene could react, Lin Ke had already walked into the venue slowly. Nassau's wedding did not have so many dress ceremonies, but more about Asia's blessing. That is, buying some things that Asia liked, and then praying for Asia's blessing at the wedding. And now, Lin Ke, wearing a black and red dress, and Lin Ke, wearing a light red wedding dress, slowly entered the venue. Miss Lin Ke is so beautiful. Bing Bing held the microphone in her hand, and forgot that she was live for a moment and couldn't speak. The clothes Lin Ke wore were not any of Nassau's existing clothes, but the Chinese wedding dress designed by Lin Ke himself, which matched his Chinese men's clothes and immediately attracted everyone's attention. Not only Lin Ke. Behind Lin Ke, she also held Kanako's hand and entered the venue together. Who is that? It seems to be the followers of the Duke of Lava. Hiss. They are also beautiful. Everyone in the audience was more surprised than the other, and some of the slightly stronger ones could even sense Kanako's realm. That's the new god of Dahuang City, Her Majesty the Goddess of Finance Kanako. Bing Bing proudly introduced Kanako behind Lin Ke. We all know that young Master Lin Ke. Among Lord Lin Ke's followers, there are several who have a crush on him. Bing Bing slipped up and almost said young Master Lin Ke. In the past, as the heir of Viscount Azen, it was okay to call Lin Ke young master. Now, everyone calls Lin Ke lord to show respect. And when talking about whether someone has a crush on someone, this gossip atmosphere immediately attracted many people. In a luxurious auditorium, Emperor Wumian, the 5-colored dragon mother, the moon goddess, and the gardener's wife were watching. Oh, this little Lin Ke, he's good at keeping quiet. Emperor Wumian raised his eyebrows. He also got a goddess. Oh, what? Are you also in love? Isn't the moon girl enough? The 5-colored dragon mother raised her eyebrows and poked Wumian by the way. Wumian turned around. The eyes of the 5-colored dragon mother were full of encouragement. The eyes of the moon goddess were cold, and the gardener's wife smiled kindly. Wumian immediately said angrily, "No, I have the 3 of you. That's enough." Just kidding. According to the character of the 5-colored dragon mother, after the Emperor Wumian no longer needed those false names, she naturally stopped Wumian from looking for someone else. However, at this time, the 5-colored dragon mother looked at her daughter and couldn't help but sighed. Little Lin Ke finally has someone to entrust her. Now it's time to worry about Bandana and the others. I hope Lin won't let you down. The moon goddess said lightly, "Let's talk about Bandana later. Don't worry about her. I'm worried about the mist now." The dark girl and the mist banshee are both descendants of the moon goddess. The sons of the moon goddess have all started families and careers, but the 2 daughters are more abnormal than the other. Speaking of which, the tide is the same. The 5-colored dragon mother shook her head. Ms. Tide is the daughter of the 5-colored dragon mother, but the 5-colored dragon mother and the moon goddess have a close relationship, so the moon goddess also regards Ms. Tide as her own daughter. Haha, there are too many daughters in the 5th and 8th families, and I'm worried about that too. Mrs. Gardner smiled, like an ordinary octogenarian, but in fact she is also a powerful legend. But this wedding is really good. Wumian tried to shift his attention from their family affairs to liquor at this time. This is called emergency avoidance. Lin Ke loves liquor very much. Very good. Very good. No one is happier than parents to see their daughter being loved deeply. The other people are the same. Regardless of whether they like Lin Ke or not, they are also happy to feel liquor's happiness at this time. In other places, almost all girls have the same emotion towards liquor. That is, envy, jealousy, and hatred. The emotions of boys towards Lin Ke are much more complicated. For example, Nyx was looking at Lalita next to him at this time, with a helpless look on his face. Lalita's eyes were sparkling as she looked at Lin Ke. Wow, hehe, slurp. From Nyx's perspective, Lalita looked like a pure infatuated nympho. Hey, you have a husband, and you're even pregnant. Nyx looked at Lalita's slightly bulging belly, helplessly. Mr. Lin Ke doesn't like you. Huh. Get out of the way. Don't block me from looking at the handsome guy. Lalita was too lazy to pay attention to Nyx. She touched her belly and said in the tone of talking to the baby in her belly, "In the future, my baby, if it's a boy, he must be as handsome as Master Lin Ke, and if it's a girl, she must marry someone like Master Lin Ke. If you really can't find one, it's okay to marry someone like me." Nyx's 2 big furry ears hung behind his head. He said sourly, and as he spoke, he laughed. Oh, what a wonderful laugh. Rami was right next to them. They were all in the same auditorium, which was spacious enough for them to sit. Azan's lion will eventually give birth to a whole group of king lions. Not far away, Sophie hugged her music score tightly, staring at the wedding below, not knowing what she was thinking. No matter what, these followers were still happy for their lords from the bottom of their hearts. What's more, whether it was Rika or Kanako, they were actually very familiar with them, and they all knew that Rika and Kanako had very sincere feelings for Lin Ke. Of course, there were many sincere people, such as Sophie, look at how handsome Lord Lin Ke is. The pregnant Lalita's nature was exposed, or rather, Lalita has always been like this, carefree. When everyone heard Lalita call Sophie like this, their hearts jumped. What's so good about handsome guys? It's better to look at me. Bald Jack touched his shiny bald head and smiled. Bald Jack now has space rings on all 10 fingers. He has a lot of companies under his command, and is very rich. He is completely different from the man who used to manage slaves for Lin Ke. Of course, he used to be like a local dog, but now he is like an avaricious local dog. Haha, Sophie, don't pay attention to him. He is just a local dog. Watson has long golden hair and looks modest and polite. In a few days, our union will have a boys and girls social event. Do you want to participate? We are all alone. Just have fun. Sophie. The followers all knew about Sophie's feelings for Lin Ke, but they didn't know how to deal with it. No. Sophie hugged her music score tightly, lowered her head and stood up. There will be a concert for me in the wonderful land later. I will go to prepare first, Sophie said, and walked out in a low voice. Nyx was shorter, and he clearly saw drops of water falling from Sophie's face when she left. Sophie cried. Oh, what's the big deal? Granny Zsa leaned back on the recliner and sighed. Miss me? I'm not sad. That orph is gone. I still have to eat and drink as usual. After all, I got a large pension. Chapter 396 The Hot Slave Auction. Granny Zsa acted like an old lady, which made everyone speechless. Lord Daofu had a crush on you, Granny Zsa, but you two weren't actually together, right? Maybe it was the feelings that accumulated over the years of doing experiments? And, after Lord Daofu passed away, Granny Zsa wasn't actually sad, right? Exclamation mark. In fact, after you received the pension, you were quite happy. Everyone was a little speechless. If it weren't for Granny Zsa's old age attitude, they would have wanted to beat her up. Of course, everyone also knew that Granny Zsa was just being stubborn. In fact, after Aofu passed away, she locked herself in the laboratory for 3 days and didn't come out. After she came out, she didn't talk about Aofu for 3 years until just now. Maybe it was because Lin Ke, who was regarded as a relative by Aofu, got married, so Granny Zsa was no longer sad, right? However, at this moment, 2 people walked in, one tall and one short. Among them, the taller one whispered, "How much is my pension?" In an instant, Granny Zsa, who was originally lying on the recliner, jumped up and rushed towards the taller one. When everyone looked again, Granny Zsa was already in tears. Gold coins are above. You are back. Woo woo woo. At the venue, Lin Ke stood on the left and right of Rika and Kanako, and in front of them was Aisha, the goddess of love and joy, floating in the air. Lin Ke, are you willing to love these 2 ladies sincerely and forever? Aisha's voice spread throughout the venue, and then spread throughout Nasang through the live broadcast. I do. Lin Ke nodded solemnly. Rika, Kanako, are you willing to love this gentleman sincerely and forever? Aisha smiled and looked at Rika and Kanako again. I do. I do. Rika and Kanako nodded sincerely, with sincere and happy light flashing in their eyes. Okay. Aisha smiled and nodded, the divine power in her body boiling. 3 weak but firm white lights radiated to the 3 people, forming a connection. At the same time, in the process, he solemnly said, I, Aisha Arabisa Fazuma, Deliamat, bless you here. Your destiny, regardless of mountains, seas, time, and space, planes, cannot be stopped. After saying this, the light connection between the 3 people slowly dissipated, and Aisha's face also looked a little tired. He still smiled and said, congratulations to the 3 of you for eternal happiness. As he said this, he gave Lin Ke an apologetic look, and then his body dissipated towards the sky. It is estimated that he went back to the kingdom of God to recuperate. It seems that he just consumed a lot. However, the joy and happiness in Rika and Kanako's eyes became more intense. Rika had waited for a long time, for more than 10 years, and now she only felt that she was wrapped in a strong feeling of getting what she wanted, and even felt that her soul was about to sublimate. Kanako was similar. She originally thought that she could only be a follower because Lin Ke was a stubborn person. Who knew that when she was promoted to a god, she got a husband for free? What a bargain. Moreover, both of them were very satisfied with Lin Ke's new wedding. 10,000 people, no, 100,000, 1 million, even 10 million, hundreds of millions of people witnessed their love. And there was also the blessing of the god of love, which was simply too happy. The audience at the venue also burst into violent roars and applause. Some women almost fainted with envy. It was too romantic and grand. Men cheered and howled for Lin Ke, who had both the cute lolly type and the explosive Tsunade type. In this world-renowned situation, Lin Ke pulled Rika and the others off the stage and went to one of the audience seats. At this time, John's figure slowly walked up, and at the same time, several people brought up a screen made of photo stone, connected it to the source of magic power, and displayed a few words on it. Welcome to Dahuang City. At the same time, John also took the microphone and shouted, "Welcome to the Great Wasteland City." As John cheered, cheers rang out again. Amid the cheers, a group of people in special uniforms came up dancing happily. These people were all women, and they were good looking. They waved their arms and smiled. At the same time, a professional singer also came up singing happily, singing, "Welcome to the Great Wasteland City. Welcome to the Great Wasteland City. See, welcome to New York." With the singing, the whole audience was boiling again. Because the melody was simple, everyone quickly found the beat and sang along. 3 minutes later, the Azanen troupe left the stage, but John waited for nearly 2 minutes before the boiling posture of the whole audience slightly subsided. "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first Great Wilderness Festival of the year, or Nasan Festival," John said passionately. "We will hold this festival every month. Of course, the festival in each month is just an auction, and we will hold the grand festival at the end of every year. An auction every month, a festival every year. This is what the Great Wilderness City is going to do, just like celebrating the new year. Next, we will begin our first session, the slave auction. Please look at the big screen." John pointed to the big screen and began to introduce, "This is the first batch of slaves from the vast ocean of stars and waves. This is a group of Murlocs from the Star Reef. The first one is." John introduced each slave carefully, and after the introduction, he immediately gestured to the venue. "Customers in need can directly press the blue button on the table in your audience space and say the number. Note that you cannot say irrelevant content, only content related to the auction. Otherwise you will be banned. Okay, does anyone have any questions?" John smiled and looked at the audience seats in the venue. "You can ask questions, if you have any. Of course, you can only ask meaningful ones. The operator will filter out meaningless content." As soon as the words fell, a steady and calm voice spoke, "Why is it a package auction? Can't you buy just one?" "Sorry, our classification is carefully calculated. For example, the price of noble Murlocs from the Star Reef will be relatively expensive, so we will consider selling them individually. If they are ordinary professionals, we will consider selling them in packages," John explained. In fact, they had already deduced many possible questions before, so they answered them fluently and others would find them easy to understand. Then there were other people asking questions, some of which were very simple, while others required John to think before answering. After a long while, the auction officially began. "So, today's first batch of slaves are the fishmen from the Star Reef. Except for a few star level nobles, all others are packaged and sold at a price. 30 million Azan coins. Chapter 397 Shocking transaction amount. 30 million Azan coins. This is a huge fortune. In fact, this batch of mermaids is very valuable for many people to study. Although there are no high quality star level mermaids, the accumulation of numbers may be able to explore the bloodline secrets of the Star Reef mermaids." So as soon as John finished speaking to start the auction, someone spoke up. 100 million Azan coins. The auction also had background music, which was a kind of exciting and fast-paced music, but before the background music started, this person spoke up. This person's voice was the first person who asked John a question before. 100 million Azan coins for the first time. This customer has a very thoughtful vision, and directly offered 100 million gold coins. 100 million Azan coins for the second time. You know, the lords of the mermaid kingdom are very particular about their own bloodlines, not to mention mermaids above level 15. 100 million Azan coins for the third time. This time, if it weren't for His Majesty Wumian's guarantee, we wouldn't dare to auction it. Think about it, there will be no such opportunity from now on, and we will ship it confidentially. When he said the second sentence, Wumian's face darkened. When John said the last sentence, two voices spoke at the same time. 150 million Azan coins. 101 Azan coins. The two voices sounded at the same time, making the audience in the venue stunned for a moment. Sorry, Mr. Number 75,644. Mr. Number 275's bid is better. John smiled at a general direction, and then spoke again. 150 million for the first time. Several forces spoke one after another. It was obvious that the first party belonged to the Star Reef, and the other two parties were probably malicious. After the three parties competed, this batch of mermaids was actually taken by the person who had only one more Azen coin. But there was no time to be surprised. The second batch of slaves to be auctioned came again, followed by the third batch, the fourth batch. It was not until the fifth batch that the entire auction entered a break, and people from the Azen troupe went up to sing and dance. The auction of the first batch of slaves ended, but it was not the second batch of slaves that followed, but other things. The second auction will auction knowledge items. John's voice was still passionate. In the past, when the wonderful land was just a wooden stage, he was the host. I have to say that John quite likes this feeling. Knowledge items? What are knowledge items? In a crowded auditorium, 6 people squeezed in. They all pulled their money to buy a seat. In order to save money, one of the farmers was a little curious. Go and look at the list. Aren't the auction process and the list written? A fat lady next to him said impatiently. Oh, sorry, I can't read. The old farmer scratched his head. Seeing that the old farmer couldn't read, the fat lady's face became kinder. She didn't know who the people who competed for the tickets this time were. The ticket was given to her by her nephew in the city hall. With such a nephew, she, who was originally arrogant and domineering, also restrained herself. At least she couldn't embarrass her nephew, right? It's okay, brother, you can go to the elementary school to attend an adult school when you have time. Knowledge items are the products of research by various scholars. These studies mainly include mathematics, lightning, lava, etc. The fat lady introduced them in a logical manner. Someone nearby also responded, there is the manuscript of the legendary mathematician, Julio inside. TSK, I really want to take a look at it. The person who spoke was a young man with an ordinary appearance, but bright eyes. I dare not think about the manuscript of a legendary strongman. Yes. This time I came to broaden my horizons. The other people chatted casually. The big screen in front also showed the first auction item. This is the manuscript of the legendary mathematician, Miss Juliu before her breakthrough. It records the content about pi. It also includes the distinction between irrational numbers and rational numbers. John himself was a little awkward to read these terms, let alone other people who had never come into contact with them. However, everyone still knew the meaning of legend. Starting price, 1000 Azen coins. Although the price was not high, John still spoke in a high voice. Only 1000 Azen coins? Most of the audience looked surprised, but no one bid for a long time. Many nobles didn't want to buy this thing at all. After all, people who have come into contact with mathematics think that mathematics is a very headache. Many nobles originally thought that it was difficult to advance in the scholar category, and mathematics was even more difficult in the scholar branch, so no one liked it. What's the point of some numbers? In life, we only need addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Why learn so much? It's more fun to write and slash. So, no one has bid yet. Unlike the group of slaves who bid, as soon as they finished speaking, the manuscript of the giant river did not seem to be very attractive. But the young man who just spoke was moved at this time. He was Risha, originally a member of the Everfrizz Council, who came here because of his reputation. His family brought their children here and wanted to settle down. Fortunately, his family had accumulated some money, which was enough to exchange for Azen coins. After buying a very cheap house here, they still had a surplus of about 10,000 Azen coins. His relatives were looking for jobs outside, and he could also seek a job in a research institute without any accidents. Now, he can even control about 2,000 Azen coins. That was Mr. Giant River's manuscript. Not to mention the collection value, the mathematical knowledge contained in it is very useful. However, just as Rashad was tempted, someone made an offer. 10,000 Azen coins. The modesty of Lady Juliu should not be the reason for the low price of this item. This was the voice of a young man. Although others were not very familiar with him, Rashad knew that this was the voice of the famous mathematician, Laplace, whom he had seen in a live broadcast. But Rashad was a little helpless. He originally thought that no one knew that this was a good thing. But he was just overthinking. In fact, many people originally wanted to pick up bargains. Things that cannot be auctioned here will generally go to the sales center at the reserve price after being unsold, or return to the hands of the auctioneer. Many scholars want to get in touch with mathematics more than others. Who knew that there would be people who knew the goods when they bought a manuscript? So, everyone stopped demonstrating. 11,000 gold coins. No, ASN coins. 15,000 ASN coins. 20,000. Everyone competed to bid, and finally it was taken down at around 40,000. This made those who thought they could pick up bargains at first secretly curse their opponents for having too many opponents. And then, the audience also knew what it meant to be rich and powerful. Whether it was slaves, knowledge or tools, they all sold for a huge amount of ASN coins, 624.3 billion ASN coins. However, this was not the end. Chapter 398 University. Founding a university. Backstage, Lin Ke was busy. Although the wedding was done, he still had a lot of things to do. Of course, it wasn't a wedding prank or a betrothal gift. There were no such troubles in Nassim. How is it? Are there any unsold items at the moment? Is the live broadcast going well? Is there any problem? Sort out the next things well. Lin Ke was directing everything in the backstage without any hurry. At present, it has not yet reached the auction stage of the plane development rights, but Lin Ke also has to make sure that everything is foolproof. Moreover, after the plane development rights, it is Lin Ke's killer move for this event, something he has been preparing for a long time. Mr. Lava, it's ready. At present Butler John has auctioned the development rights of the 13th plane. At this time, a polite little boy came forward to report. This was what Tower ordered Lin Ke to form a butler group after he became the Duke of Lava. No matter how Lin Ke is, as the Duke of Lava, if he has branches and leaves in the future, there will always be someone to help take care of it. Lin Ke also found that, after having a butler group that obeys him, his efficiency has indeed increased. Okay, I'll get ready. Lin Ke nodded, and the little boy retreated. Lin Ke took out the wand of annihilation in his hand, and held it tightly. Most of his confidence actually came from the palace guardian bracelet and the wand of annihilation. And that old man back then, was he Andrew? That tower, was it the fearless tower? Lin Ke was a little undecided, but he knew that maybe the old man was not as strong as Woomian, but he must be a person who was very good at making tools. For example, only a master or above in his palace guardian bracelet could see the disguise, and he had to be proficient in the soul. Not to mention the wand of annihilation, which sealed 3 full strength attacks of the master level. So far, Lin Ke has not found a second wand of annihilation similar to it. However, from beginning to end, except for the fearless tower, Lin Ke has never heard of other places with many strong people. Whether that old man is Andrew or not, he must be an ancient and powerful existence. And next, what Lin Ke has to do is something that he might not dare to do if Woomian is not backing him up. That is to create a university system. No one pays much attention to the basic education system, so it doesn't matter if Lin Ke comes up with it. But the university system may be reaping the fruits of all basic education. Didn't the ugly country in the previous life rely on a series of excellent highest education to continuously harvest talents from all over the world? No matter how powerful your elementary school math competition is, no matter how excellent and fair your college entrance examination is, anyway, at a certain point, study abroad becomes the best choice. As for whether you can go back after you get out, Mr. Khan wanted to go home and was imprisoned for 3 years. No matter how overbearing and unreasonable this approach is, most forces dare not say a word. Therefore, Lin Ke is ready to cross the river by feeling the eagle source and learn from the eagle source's approach. Establish a supreme institution of learning, pull in a group of top strong men, and publish the latest research at any time. These studies should be ahead of the present. In addition, the superior living environment and living security of the Great Wasteland City will definitely attract a large number of people to settle down. Of course, the only thing to worry about is Nassim's counterattack. Whether it is the Kingdom of Gila or the Holy Life Alliance, whether it is the Ocean of Stars and Waves or the Eternal Frozen Court, they all know the power of a university. After all, when Lin Ke founded a university today, he also had to recruit talents. It was not enough to rely on the 3 or 2 big cats and small cats in Dahuang City. Once he recruited talents, He might encounter obstacles. Luana, how are the preparations? Thinking of this, Lin Ke asked a clerk. The clerk was checking on a palm-sized photo stone. He only raised his head slightly when he heard it. Checking, sir. The current proofreading rate is 86%, and the current correctness rate is 100%. Okay, speed up. Lin Ke nodded, and then took out a magic crystal for her. Clerk Luana took it without looking back, and the power of the clerk on her body was still running at a high speed. The element in the magic crystal were quickly absorbed by her. Lin Ke knew that she was also very nervous, so he stopped urging her, but silently recalled everything he had prepared. After the auction, it might be almost midnight, but there was also a half-time break in the middle. Professionals can go without sleep or food for several days, but ordinary people can't stand it. Therefore, there is a break in the middle of the auction, which is to let everyone relax for a while so as to receive the more exciting next one. And Lin Ke's presentation will be at the end of the auction. Through various publicity before, everyone knows that the highlight of this event is in the second half. In the second half, Lin Ke will appear in person and give his presentation. Not only his cross-era products, but also his ideas for the university and other things. Thinking of this, Lin Ke, who is calm, can't help but clench the wand of annihilation and sweat a little. About 3 minutes later, Luana prepared everything. After 5 minutes, John's last auction item has also been auctioned. Now the performance is going on, and after the performance, it's time for Lin Ke to appear. John came down from the backstage. The excitement on his face has not dissipated. Seeing Lin Ke's nervousness, he came up and gave Lin Ke a very strong hug. Master, don't be nervous. John patted Lin Ke's back and then smiled at Lin Ke. He, with black hair and black pupils, made Lin Ke calm down a little. Okay. Lin Ke nodded. John's black hair and black pupils were the reasons why Lin Ke chose him as his personal manservant and future butler when he was young. And now, this black hair also gave Lin Ke a strong encouragement. Everything he wants to say was just a part of the 12-year compulsory education in the previous life. It is not simple, but it is not difficult. The establishment of many things must be accompanied by a strong voice. This voice may be moral level, economic strength, technological level, etc. But in NASAing, absolute force is everything. In the previous life, the ugly country's military power was the first in the world, but it still could not completely control the world, because the economy, technology, etc. were its constraints. And in NASAing, no matter how strong your economy or morality is, you will all lie down and obey under the double swords of the sleepless emperor. If you don't obey, you will be chopped off and replaced by an obedient one, such as the chief of the Everfrozen Council. This is Lin Ke's confidence. Thinking of this, Lin Ke's heart is calmer. What he wants to do is to challenge the entire aristocratic system. However, the strongest leader in the aristocratic system stands behind him. That's enough. Thinking of this, he saw the backstage staff signaling to him. So Lin Ke cleared his throat and walked upstairs. Come on, Nassim. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 399, Change. Provocation from the nobles. The strong light shone down, and Lin Ke couldn't help but use his optical skills to relieve eye fatigue. This profession, lighting artist, is still not very professional. Lin Ke still had time to think about other things. As he entered the venue again after the wedding, the audience burst into violent cheers. In some expensive private rooms, the nobles who were originally very reserved about their status couldn't help but have some expressions. Lin Ke Azine. This is a person who has repeatedly created miracles. He has been famous in the kingdom of Gila since his youth, and on his adulthood, he went to the noble council to turn the tide. And now, this lava duke has even declared in the Great Wilderness Monthly that he will announce some measures and systems to change the plane at the event. Change the plane. In addition to the master, even the legends and gods can only change the plane through destruction, or change it slowly. Lin Ke, a mere man, actually wants to change the plane and change the world. Lin Ke is only level 14. At this time, Lin Ke also smiled and said, "Good evening, everyone. I just got married, and it feels like I'm still in a dream. You know, I established a relationship with one of my wives just a few days ago." Lin Ke started with a relaxed tone and slowly began to tell the story, just like telling a story. But at a certain moment, he suddenly changed his tone and said, "But, is such a beautiful life really beautiful? Such a beautiful life, is it really beautiful? What does it mean?" Everyone was puzzled. "Here it comes. In the box." Wumian chuckled. Lin Ke said that I won't show up this time, and he wants to see what those corrupt and stubborn nobles are. He is a noble himself. The moon goddess still looks high and cold. So, Lin Ke is an interesting little guy. It's different to be forced to change by others, and to want to change by yourself. Wumian laughed and stretched out his finger to point at the moon goddess. If you weren't born early, you can't beat him." The moon goddess stopped talking and just looked at the field. Wumian stopped talking when he saw this. In a certain box, a middle-aged man in white and blue noble clothing also had a gleam in his eyes. "Master, everything has been arranged." A butler came up and whispered in his ear that Charlie is very sensible. "Don't say it." The noble glanced at the butler. "This is the great wilderness. Be careful with your words." Yes. The butler was startled and lowered his head quickly. "Also, remember to arrange it for the deep blue news." The noble's eyes were dim. "My brother wants to protect him, but I need the frontier." "Yes, master." The butler was sweating profusely and then left. He is already more than 300 butlers. Except for the first butler who died in the war, all other butlers died strangely. Those who understand understand. Alas, my deep blue family. After coming out, the butler sighed and wanted to talk to himself, but immediately resisted his desire to speak, and then hurried away. In each box, whether it was a noble or a chieftain, everyone's face changed, always paying attention to Lin Ke's words. There are also some reporters from various newspapers in the kingdom of Gula who are recording what Lin Ke said, and recording it in text. As for the live broadcast, Bing Bing didn't say anything at this time, just listen to her idol Lin Ke's words, because she didn't need to say anything at this time, the audience just needed to listen to Lin Ke's words. At this time, Lin Ke was still narrating slowly, "The good life of our human race comes from the nobles. In the Middle Ages, in the ancient times, in the mythological era, and even before the mythological era, the ancient nobles led our human race from the arduous journey to the current prosperity and glory." It sounds like praising the nobles, but the nobles were all shocked. Lin Ke's speeches, those who are interested have already checked, are all first praise, and then criticize, or first criticize and then praise. How good the nobles are now, how harsh they will be scolded later. Including the Holy Life Alliance, the Everfrozen Council, Nasan and those outside Nasan. The nobles, all of similar to the nobles, are leading their own tribes to the peak in the future. But, I found that the nobles now have changed. I have read in books that Emperor Wumian said, "The human race will always stand firm." Such domineering words, and I have also seen Emperor Gilarize "either victory or death." However, from ancient times to the present, our noble system has changed. In the mythological era, what did our human race rely on to survive to this day? The ancient nobles at that time included the sage Andrew who gave up his legs, Myazan family who gave up their blood, and countless martyrs and heroes who were born in blood and scorched earth. They are selfless and dedicated to the survival and future of the human race. Take Myazan family for example. The original blood turbulence bloodline, for the ultimate victory, directly took out the power of the laws in the bloodline as a tonic for their human army. The bloodline power also degenerated into turbulence, and then became the current torrent. Countless ancient nobles, one after another, risking their lives. But look at now. How many nobles have benefited from the prestige of their ancestors, and are still alive today? How many nobles are doing things like oppressing their people and robbing? Having said this, Lin Ke paused and looked around the high place of the stadium, at the VIP tickets that could only be bought for 5,000 Azine coins. Now, how many heirs of nobility think about enjoyment all day long? enjoy beauty, money, and power, and enjoy the pleasure of dominating civilians at will. I have seldom come into contact with other nobles. I have been called a little country noble by others since I was a child. I know from books that nobles should be fearless, kind, friendly, intelligent, helpful, willing to sacrifice, and help each other. But when I decided to take the lead in the charge, so many nobles thought that I had noble character. Lin Ke's voice became heavy. Is this really a noble character? Isn't it that nobles enjoy the love and support of civilians because they will protect them? For nobles, taking the lead in the charge is the right thing to do. Otherwise, the farmers provide you with food, the servants take care of your daily life, and in the end you let others rush to the front. Then what is the role of your nobility? Nobles, what is noble is never blood, not status, nor prestige, but morality, personality, and behavior. Lin Ke spoke loudly, and immediately there was an uproar on the field. He had actually said this theory in many places, but never in front of so many commoners. In other words, this would shake the survival foundation of all nobles. How dare you? You are talking nonsense. Sure enough, someone spoke up immediately. Chapter 400, Noble. I'm being presumptuous. I'm talking nonsense. Lin Ke smiled slightly. Originally, these people couldn't speak, but Lin Ke would not let this happen. Today, he wanted to have a verbal battle with the nobles and let the real enemy show up. And the noble who just spoke didn't expect that he could speak by just pressing the speaking button casually. The noble was a little hesitant. If it was just in private, he could roar and insult as he pleased. But now, he was under the attention of everyone. And the person he wanted to roar at was not the lowly mate or the subject in the past, but a powerful duke who owned the territory. This duke has the great god Emperor Wumian behind him. It's okay, everyone. As a noble, I hope to transform the kingdom of Gila and Nassan together with my compatriots. You know, in the endless plains outside of us, it is very likely that we will encounter plains or strong people that even His Majesty Wumian cannot deal with, so I hope that everyone will become stronger together. Lin Ke paused and smiled. After all, it must be said that nobles are also elites, because nobles have at least received a lot of education. Nobles are at least educated. This is so right. Many nobles were originally a little disgusted with Lin Ke's previous remarks, but now they feel a little happy. A dignified duke said that he is an elite. He is still the duke who is famous for treating the untouchables well and not treating the nobles well. I have to say that this is quite cool. After hearing what Lin Ke said, the noble who just spoke felt a little relieved. After all, it was said in public, and it would be embarrassing for Lin Ke to retaliate afterwards. So, the noble spoke again, but his tone was much gentler. Respected Duke of Lava, you said that the blood of the nobles is not noble. This is nonsense. You know, the more noble the noble, the stronger his blood will be. Although the noble's voice calmed down, it was still a bit arrogant. The more noble the noble, the stronger his blood. In fact, this is just a matter of probability. It should be said that the more powerful the life, the richer the blood variety of his descendants. Because the inheritance of blood information may pass on the blood, profession, professional characteristics, skills, etc. of a life to the blood of the descendants. Compared with the nobles, the blood of the peasants may always be inherited by only a few. However, in fact, these are just certain probabilities. When farmers combine with farmers, water blood and fire blood may also combine into steam blood, and it cannot be said that steam blood is weak. There is no strongest blood, only the strongest professional. What's more, the variety of blood can't determine anything. Outstanding blood talent, mud blood, and inferior blood talent, lightning blood, who is more powerful? Therefore, the saying that nobles must have strong blood is a false statement. It is just like the saying that rural people must not study well and have poor brains because they are not well nourished, have bad genetics, etc. Most of the students in Tsinghua, Peking University, 9852, 111, etc. are from rural areas. So, do you think blood is really important? Lin Ke smiled. My followers don't have many nobles, such as my dearest butler, or my earliest follower, the medical knight Nix. Their talents are not weak. As he said, Nix and others came to the backstage from the audience at a very fast speed, and then walked forward from the backstage. John was still holding the crystal used to detect talent. Look, many of my followers are from civilians, and even slaves. Lin Ke said with a smile, and his followers didn't care. They were not so fragile. Forgetting the past means betrayal. They all know who they were before, and how they became who they are now. For example, Bald Jack. However, these former civilians, slaves, and mercenaries have shown outstanding talents in the crystal ball for detecting talent. Watching John and the others touch the crystal ball one by one, the talents shown on the crystal ball were at least very good, such as Nix, or even very promising bloodline talents. When Nix's very promising light flew up, the audience was stunned. A very promising talent is even rarer than the top scholar in the previous life when all the top scholars in the country gathered together. Such a person was born in a small tribe in the lava swamp? And the uniform very good talents simply blinded the eyes of the nobles. Many nobles, begging for mercy, still have inferior talents for themselves and their children. If a medium talent appears, then they can feel at ease. After all, medium talent means that at least with some effort, they can become a level 5 or 6 professional. At the beginning, the Baron Sandal had a medium talent. Then, if it is a fair talent, then the noble will proudly announce this happy event to the people of the entire territory, and even the passing vendors will pull them to talk. For example, the conversation might be like this: a passing merchant, "Hello, Lord, what can I do for you?" A noble, "Ah, how do you know that my dear son has a good talent?" Ha 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 ha. So, when Lin Ke's followers revealed their talents, everyone was shocked. If they wanted, they could easily find out the origins of Lin Ke's followers. Lin Ke had no reason or need to lie to everyone. So, this is true. Even in remote places in the countryside like Azine, there are people with strong talents. Of course, some nobles pretended not to understand, some nobles didn't understand at all, and most ordinary people didn't understand at all. The followers retreated, and Lin Ke ignored the audience's surprise and continued. In addition to my followers, you should also know that there are many examples of civilian strongmen whose talents are not low. So, do you think nobles are still noble because of their bloodline? The noble was speechless. Noble because of bloodline? If the bloodline that you are proud of cannot prove nobility, then what is it? We have established nobility in the Gira kingdom, not for the strong. If that were the case, my followers would all be earls and marquesses, and I would be an earl at most. However, I became a duke, and my followers were not given titles, nor did they need to be given titles, because they were loyal to me, and I was loyal to the Gira kingdom. Lin Ke continued, in our Gira kingdom, we evaluate whether a person is a noble, based on whether he has made contributions to the Gira kingdom, and whether he has noble character. Nobility is about spirit, will, and character, not blood, surname, and strength. Lin Ke's words were powerful. Suddenly, the whole audience was silent. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.